Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another fabulous week of AMX Global League Season 3. We're coming back at you with the same thing we do every night, but it's a little bit different. We like to mix things up a little bit, and so we'll be starting things out with an AMX Zero race around Alton Park, racing your dad's car that he drives to work every day. The Kia Optima. It's just one way that we're starting things out, and of course we have a very exciting AMX 10 race planned for you a little bit later on. So while we get a few scenic views of the track today, we're also going to get a scenic view of our commentary team for today, Brad and Amir. How are you guys doing? Brad, you first.
Hey Reed, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're at in the world. I am doing good. It's a Wednesday night for me. I've had dinner, and I'm ready to see some Kia Optimas go around Alton Park. And yeah, we'll see how tonight goes. It's AMX Zero. It's always fun.
And then Amir, while it's a good old evening for Brad, I think like me, you are up bright and early in the morning, right?
Yeah, absolutely, Reed. It's 7 a.m. over here, 7:41 a.m. So rise and shine for me as well. But looking forward to this one because touring cars around Alton Park is, you can't go wrong with that, especially with these Kia Optimas. We're going to look into this. They're high-powered, but they're going to be quite exciting to watch for sure.
And we're going to have to do some advanced investigation once we get out there on the track. We have quite a few drivers signed up today, and so it might get a little bit hectic. It's going to look like LA traffic out there. I don't know what to expect, but it's going to be exciting. And if that doesn't work, we've got AMX 10 a little bit later on. That's guaranteed to be exciting. Some good cars and tracks and combos going on there. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's go ahead and break things down. If you are new to watching AMX this season, what is this? Well, it's a sim racing league, and here's how we're breaking it down. We're running it for about 3 months, from September 20th to December 10th, which means we're coming up on the halfway point. Our racers are racing for over $25,000 in prizes this season, and we've got a lot of races to do it in, a total of 72. If you can find a race series with more, then let us know, because I'm pretty sure this is the most races in any tournament in the world. Anyway, our race format is by far the most unique part of Season 3, and that is a 15-minute qualifier, 15-minute Heat 1, and a 15-minute Heat 2, with a top 15 reverse grid in between. And we're splitting the prize pool for each race. For AMX Zero, it's about $100, 99.5 if I'm not mistaken. We're splitting that up equally between qualifier, Heat 1, and Heat 2. That's right, we're going to pay you out for qualifiers and each for the heats today. So really accessible, paying out to the top 15, so you can come out, win some money, and it's going to be a good time. If you join AMX Zero and would like an extra $1, you can turn on your camera, join via the link in Discord, or of course on our website, and we'd love to see you. You get an extra $1 if you turn that on during AMX Zero. If you turn it on to AMX 10, well, it's required with a higher level of competition. So I'd love to see you. Turn the camera on, get out there, and when you stack up those dollars, combined with your winnings from AMX Zero and AMX 10, we're to pay you out balances over $100 each month on the 20th. And it's a staggered payout system, so we're getting to it. And of course, we do race on Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday. You can sign up to race anytime at amxrace.com. Our schedule is as follows. If you are in the Americas region, then you can race with us on Wednesday evenings. You can also hit us up on the weekend in the afternoon, starting at 12:50 p.m. for AMX Zero and 2:20 p.m. in the afternoon for AMX 10 on the weekends. And if you are in Europe, then you can hit us up on Thursday late night DGen Gamer Hours, 1:50 a.m. and then 3:20 for AMX 10. And then if you are on the weekends, then it's some good old evening racing. So you can get to us on Sunday before you head back to work. Saturday, just having a good time. Finish off your night with some sim racing, as you are wont to do. 6:50 starts and then 8:20 for AMX 10 on the weekends in Europe. This is a look at what our racers are racing for today. It's about $100 prize pool, and we're splitting it up like this. First place is $7, 5, 4, 3, 2, and so on. And we're doing that for qualifier, Heat 1, Heat 2, with a top 15 reverse grid. Turn your camera on to get an extra $1, and yeah. Total prize pool for AMX Zero, $99.50. Because if it was $100, that's just not as exciting, right? Anyway, either way, it's not just money we're racing for. Thanks to our friends at Next Level Racing, manufacturers of fine sim racing cockpits out there, you can win a GT Lite Pro. They have agreed to provide one of these for the AMX Zero champion of AMX Season 3. So if you need a light and portable sim rig upgrade, look no further than the Next Level Racing GT Lite Pro. And if you'd like to win one, then just be the highest earning AMX Zero competitor this season. And you too can grab one from our friends at Next Level Racing. A big thanks to them for partnering with us this season. And let's take a look at who is in the running for that GT Lite Pro. It is currently Jackson Restenge, Quarantine Guinness, Caio Gaspar, Fabrizio Belziti, Kieran Harrison, and Gerardo Ramos. They are in the top 6 of the AMX Zero Top 12. You can check these out. And you might actually notice some of these numbers of races raced not actually that high, which means that you can get out here, join a few races, get your name up there on the board, and take home some of the prizes, and of course some of the prize money. Lots more races to race this season, so plenty of time to get out there and race with us at amxrace.com. If you're looking for some power rankings, this is kind of how we do it here. Average winnings per race correlates pretty closely to average placements. And so if you look up there at the top, Kieran Harrison is way up there with the highest average winnings per race. But if you look at Gustavo Ariel, this guy's only raced 2 races, and he's number 2 in the standings with just about the same amount of money, which means he's a beast. So definitely somebody to watch out for. If you do see him in AMX 0 or AMX 10, yeah, definitely watch out for that guy. And any one of the top 12 drivers in our average winnings power rankings for AMX 0. And that's going to do it for our power rankings and all of that good stuff, which means it's about time to take a look at what and where we are racing. So I'll turn it over to our fantastic commentary team to take a look at the place we will be racing around for AMX 0 today.
Starting with the Alton Park circuit, Little Butterworth, England, 1953, 4.3 kilometers long. And this time we're going for the international route because before this we were racing in the Formula Ford 1600s around the Foster circuit. This time is the full circuit, so we get to see these cars going up full out on this circuit that's been featured in series like the BTCC.
Yeah, I'm actually excited to see the full track length. Roughly doubles the track. What's the biggest difference? What do we add when we get the full track length that you're missing out for Foster's?
It's the island section because it actually, as you can see from the overhead shots, is the lake on the other side. So that's how far the circuit stretches into. But there's also another space for overtaking if you would be brave to do so, either on the outside or the inside coming up to the island section.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. All right, so what are we racing here? Brad, take us away and tell us what we are driving today for AMX 0.
The most economic sedan that I think we could have picked possibly in iRacing, the Kia Optima. Also, it's now known as the Kia K5, fun fact, but 380 horsepower front-wheel drive, 1,360 kilograms, sequential no lift shift gearbox, which means keep your pedal flat to the floor and drive it through. Front-wheel drive, real sporty. Yeah, I mean, you might get passed by one of these on the interstate, and you might race one around in iRacing around Alton Park. It's a very, very unique lineup, and it really just shows kind of the variation of cars that you can drive. Because if I remember right, Sunday we were in Formula cars, and now we've thrown our racers in Kia Optimas, and I love it.
Yeah, this is about as close as you can get to going into your dealership, picking up a car, and heading out to the track. it's going to be a lot of fun, right? We do race quite a few, TCRs out there, and so this is, that idea, that feel, and as you might be able to see right there, they are durable little guys, and I don't know what you're expecting tonight, guys, but I think we might have a little bit of hand-to-hand combat tonight.
For real, Reed, I mean, you can see just now how easily chuckable these cars are. From the outset, it looks a bit like a V8 supercar, not gonna lie, but then you realize that it's not rear-wheel drive. It's a front-wheel drive touring car with only about 375 horsepower, so it's chuckable little things. We're not gonna expect, spread out racing is gonna be close quarter combat all the way. What do you think, Brad?
Saying Kia Optima and 375 horsepower in the same sentence just feels wrong to me. Just feels really wrong. But somehow it sounds so right. This is going to be a lot of fun, Reed, and I hope you're looking forward to it like I am.
I mean, what is there to look forward to, right? I mean, it is a pretty dynamic track. This is one of those that gets a little bumpy sometimes, not just because of the curbing. That's a track limits violation. Get him. No, but also because these cars are a little bit bouncier than your 12 billion pounds of downforce, formula cars or something like that. So it is a little bit bouncier, bumpier, and not just the up and down bumps, but the side to sides also. I mean, obviously this is just qualifying, but I think we might see a little bit of aggression getting out there. And also, just want to shout out to our very painted up drivers. You have some cool liveries coming out today, and I don't even know if we're going to see all of those, but guy you see on your screen right now, Nico Godoy, playing for SART, which I believe stands for South American Racing Team. And of course, you can hit him up on Twitter if you want to say, oh my goodness, how do you get so majestic? Nico Godoy, of course, a longtime racer with AMX, and it's going to be cool to have him here today again, and back at it again with the headgear. This guy is not street legal. He will absolutely have a bad time if he does race or does wreck in real life, but because this is sim racing, he can adorn himself with whatever he likes, bringing back the flashy bows for tonight's race.
Yeah, that is kind of like the way to go, isn't it? Because probably that gives him about 20 horsepower extra on the circuit.
Easily.
But nice little ornament that he puts on him while he sim races.
Right, that's like the Lightning McQueen strat, right? Where when you paint the flames on the side, you go faster.
We need a soundboard because now I need ka-chow. I need ka-chow, someone, please.
We can do. All right, I'm gonna go to production after this. We're gonna get that. And actually, that's like having an extra commentator because we're just trying to talk about the game, the race rather. Sorry, guys, I have to get my immersion here, and then they can chime in with relevant sound effects. We can get like an extra, or maybe we can let chat control that. Actually, that's a terrible idea. Anyway, let's not do that.
No, bad idea. Bad idea.
Huge can of worms.
What if we have a vote? That would also be probably a bad idea. Actually, I heard some idea out there for a race where like chat could determine like speed ups and slowdowns for like their favorite drivers, which also sounds like it could get absolutely chaotic. So I'm just gonna let these drivers do their thing. All right, so let's check out who's out here. All right, so from my estimation, as I open my live timing window, from my estimation, we have quite a few drivers, like I said earlier, and currently it's Quarantine Ganez and Kyle Gaspar who are setting some 142 times, which is not actually that far away from what you'd expect in real life. Let's see if they are good enough to keep it going. We also have had some issues with the back of the pack, although every day is a brand new day, and that means that even though some of our racers have yet to really qualify super high, today could be the day. It's a new car track combo, so anything can happen. But the more things change, the more they stay the same sometimes, and seeing Quarantine Ganez up there in the top spot is not strange at all.
No, sir, yeah, especially given the fact that we've known he's quite a qualifying specialist anyway. Seeing the leaderboard, where is he? Yep. He's got 5 fastest laps, but 5 pole positions as well. So you can tell around the circuit in a 1-lap pace, he is absolutely blinding. So no surprise that he's about 6/10 faster than the rest of the field right now. But we're only early doors here. We've not even reached the halfway point in qualifying. So let's see if this time will start tumbling. In fact, it has tumbled Reed. A 42.2 for Jerez, still 7/10 faster than Eliseu.
That is an obnoxious time. It's 42.2. I think a lot of drivers are going to have an issue catching that, but we've got a lot of strong names here in AMX 0, so I'm still expecting to see more times in. You see Eliseu, 142.9, very... I look at it and I say, hey, that's a good time. And then I look at a 42.2 and I go, oh, man, there's some time to find. But the separation in the field isn't that far. And just a quick reminder for everyone, if this is your first AMX race, we invert the top 15 between qualifying and Heat 1. So even if you do qualify with a 142.2, you've got to survive the first lap in these chicanes and work your way back up to the front. So Reed, even if he does qualify up front, it could be a bit of a challenge for him.
Well, I mean, the opposite's true also, right? This is the full circuit, so there's a lot of shenanigans out there. If you're good enough to get pole position, then you get swapped back. And if you're not, then, you get a little bit of extra help. Currently, we haven't even set 15 times out there, so plenty of room for improvement. And this isn't one of those races where the top 10 are separated by 0.2 of a second. No, it's actually quite a bit of variety here. And that's kind of what we want to point out with AMX 0. This is supposed to be a very accessible race, give you some opportunities to learn from some of the good racers that race out here, and to compete in a pack that is around your skill level no matter where you find yourself, right? You've got something to race for. There's some money on the line, and also that reverse grid position down there in the 15th spot. So, there's a little bit of something everywhere else out there on the track. As we do fit a few more drivers in there on board now with Eliseu, who finds himself third, Belziti right ahead of him, sitting in second. That 1.42222 from Guinness still a little bit out of reach.
Yeah, it's quite a fast time that Jerez set early on. In fact, he went much faster than before. So it was a 42.7 prior to this, but then it became 42.2. So it's a perfect decimal number there, 2.22 straight away. As we look at the driver spotlight right now, second place for Fabrizio Belziti for the Voracious Racing Team, age 23, and driving with a very nice snazzy color of the Falcon tires group, but not the usual turquoise and blue that we normally associate with Falcon, but nice one either way. Fast guy, but it will take some beating for Corentin Jerez it will take some beating for Belziti to get over Jerez, don't you think, Brad?
Yeah, Belziti resetting there, and if you're not familiar with kind of the iRacing strats, you might say, why do you reset there and go back to the pits, and now he's back on another outlap? It's all about just resetting those tires and just getting a fresh set of tires on, kind of getting yourself reset. He's going to go out, do another outlap here, and then he'll push again, trying to get brand new tires, lowest amount of fuel, just that little bit of extra life in his car to try to get down to that 142.2, because Guinness, that's a strong time to beat. And while I am still seeing times, kind of compress and go down the field, look from Gerardo Ramos in P5 all the way down to Galoy in P14. They're separated by under a second. They're all in the 143s. It's very, very good times and very strong. You just got those couple people up front that have that exceptional one-lap pace. And I think Reed, again, I'm going to say it over and over, it's all about survival once we hit the race. That one-lap pace does earn you some money.
Yeah, the survival is absolutely crucial. In fact, let me quote from a fantastic iRacing thread about Alton Park. The title is, I bleeping hate Alton Park. I can't complete 5 laps on this GD track without losing control of my car, parentheses, GR86, and or crashing. I managed to get 1.2 I rating and 3.5 safety rating since I started 3 months ago, and now they're at 900 and 2.5 respectively. How do you deal with this effing piece of S circuit? Question mark. So survival is key. This is not a circuit you can take for granted, and as our fellow Redditor was pointing out, it can be a little bit challenging, which is why it's so cool to watch so many great drivers drive around it. Watch carefully, you might just learn something.
I'll take that into heart because, of course, plenty of other games have Alton Park as well. But one thing we can have that guy take solace is that at least he didn't end up in a drink because we're on the island section of this circuit right now. Imagine someone ends up in a drink today. That would be a first.
I'm going to just make a casual comment because you said that came from Reddit, and I enjoy the community that Reddit can bring. Sounds like a skill issue to me.
Yes, that is a player diff. Love it. No, I mean, look, like, I just appreciate the memes, whether you're having a good time or a bad time. Passion is always same, whether it's good, bad, everywhere in between. We're all here for the love of the game, right? Right, Amir? Right? Right?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay.
I mean, I'll just take the middle ground here and say, well, everyone has to start somewhere, and that's why they really want. They sound chatty now, but then once they get a feel for it, they'll probably just let the driving do the talking, you know?
Yeah, plus, oh, sorry, I cut you off there, Brad. I like to compare this to, like VIR, right? Like, you're driving around here, and you're like, oh, wow, this is so difficult. Then you try that out, and it's got all those, like, hills and blind corners, and you suddenly, I think, maybe get a little bit more thankful when you realize how gentle this track can be.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that VIR is quite as hilly as this, it has the same characteristics, but the only big difference is that there's more trees around here compared to VIR's former oak tree, which unfortunately has been taken out.
Rip.
See, I can't say a lot because as I talk about, turning left is my specialty. There's a lot of left turns here at Alton Park. Don't get me wrong, but there's a few more right-hand turns than I prefer. But no, for real though, these guys, watching all these drivers go through here, they are several seconds faster than me, which I'm okay with. But it takes a lot of skill to get around Alton Park very, very cleanly. And we're going in the dying minutes of qualifying here, Reed, and we're starting to see things tighten up a bit here in the front, but I still don't see anyone near that 142.2.
I mean, I'm watching with bated breath. I used to say bated breath, but that's like the opposite. Actually, no, it's exactly the same, but that's not how you say it. Brad, are you one of those guys that like you ever seen like the arm wrestling professionals? Like, you're so good at turning left, like your left-hand turn arm, like twice as big as your right-hand turn arm?
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
Oh, okay, I knew it. Like, your left eye is like open a little bit wider so you can get that extra angle. I don't know. But either way, I mean, I was actually checking out the lap times earlier. And if you're driving like say some GT3 out here, right? Then you're setting like a 133. Wow. But TCRs are once again around this 142. And in fact, the real life record for TCRs was set by my good friend Chris Smiley. We go way back. And it was a 142.7. So we're already breaking boundaries here. Getting way down there is Ginez. He's in the pit lane. He already knows. He's got it. He's locked it away. 142.22. Let's see if that confidence turns into hubris as we see if Gerardo Ramos can put it across the finish line in time to set a time here today.
Yep, coming up now to that island section, which can be quite treacherous. Let's see how he is on the brakes. Yes. Yep, hooked it up in time, but it's always impossible in the front-wheel drive car, especially given the fact that you can easily lock it up. It's just enough for him to get through there. And right now, it's not really setting the sector times alight, but if he gets up a bit better, he'll just probably earn himself an extra $1.
Yeah, he's only got about 15 seconds to finish up this lap, but he's looking really decent here for, improving somewhere. Big key for him is going to be remembering this inverted grid He doesn't want to earn as much money as he can as we hit the final second here. There it is. And times out, Gerardo Ramos not able to improve a bit, but still not in a bad position there to go into our next heat. And Reed, as we saw, 142.2 was quite not beatable there. That's a scary good time.
Ever since we mentioned the soundboard, I'm just imagining. And now we play like the clap sound, clap, 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 or maybe like some fireworks or something. I don't know. The possibilities are endless. I got to think about this a little bit more. Corentin Guinez, number 1. There, the French racer for SimRC is in the top spot. Voracious Racing Team represented by Fabrizio Belziti. And Texaco Racing by Tony Kanaan coming in with their driver Victor Miranda in number 3. Gaston Calavi and Carmo Elzeo. Rounding out your top 5. But actually, we go way down there. We had like 20 racers or something, maybe a little bit more. So plenty of racers on the grid, which is lining up. And so without further ado, I am going to turn things over to Brad and Amir to walk us through 2 heats of AMX Zero Racing coming up. I cannot wait to get this underway. Take it away, guys.
All right, Amir, here we go as everyone gets set up here. It is a standing start, and this is going to be where survival becomes key, I believe. This is going to be where the drivers really need to hold on to things here through the first couple of corners. I think if everyone can survive the first couple laps, or the first couple corners into the first lap, I think we will be okay, Amir.
Absolutely, but it's a standing start in front-wheel drive cars. It's not a pleasant feeling because, you know, the wheels drive up at the front. It's going to take forever to get into second or third gears. And then even after you survive that, first corner, it's often the case in Alton Park, you can get some carnage. And we saw in BTCC 96, we had a bit of a pile-up, 7 cars, in fact. So let's hope, knock on wood, that doesn't happen, Brad.
Absolutely. Green, green, green called by the spotters, and this is going to be the start of Heat 1 here in AMX Zero tonight. And as we see, there's already some action there. There's a car up on a wall. And as we go through, that is going to be a spinning Elysiu, I believe, who goes through. Actually, no, he is fine. Who was that spun? That was Rago, I believe, that spun through. But as we go through, we watch Diego Villarreal there in P3. Somebody's off in the grass trying to get some spots. That is again going to be Facundo Rago, who is trying to fight through against a teammate there of Belziti. Belziti getting through. Look at the lead that Jackson Resenje has already pulled. And that is somebody getting pit maneuvered in the back. That's Gunes getting pit maneuvered in the back there. From what I could see, just absolutely turned. But as we head into the nice right-hander here, and it looks like, with the exception of Gunes there, Amir, we had some people survive the first couple corners. Some people didn't.
Yeah, especially Belziti, I think, who got turned. Well, it was probably Rago because they're in the same Falcon colors. He got turned completely out. But luckily, that there's one thing you can do in front-wheel drive cars: out the throttle, and the car straightens out. So luckily, he didn't get pit maneuver around. And unfortunately for Corentin Guinez, that's exactly what happened to him. Pole sitter in the qualifying session, but right at the back. And he's well at the back now. He's in the pit lane and out of the first race. But he'll be back on pole position come race number 2, Brad.
Absolutely. It is a case of bumper cars as well. We saw there as they were going through Britons, and now as we settle up here, down through Knickerbrook, as it is called, some interesting corner names here at Alton Park. But we'll learn them as we go together, and now as we come around, we're watching Dean here, who's trying to chase down Resenje. Resenje with almost a 1.5-second lead early on. Nico Godoy, who is doing well to hold on to P4, and as we come down through Deer Leap here down into Old Hall Corner for the second of 8 times. These are fairly lengthy laps, and you have a lot of opportunities in these Optimas. The Optimas have just enough aerodynamics. They're kind of sticking behind the car in front. You can get a slipstream into a couple of places if you hold your breath, set your tongue right, and just send it, as I like to say. Send it and make something work as we ride on board here with Lazowski, who is trying to find a way around Nico Godoy. Nico Godoy a little heavy on the brakes there, and the rear end pops out. But as you said, it is just a case of throw on the throttle, and that front wheel drive will straighten back up. Isn't that right?
Absolutely. That's very useful, especially if you get pit maneuvered. But it's also quite useful in certain areas where you know the rear cocks up a bit. You can just get back on the throttle and the car turns around. But only if you straighten out the wheel. And some of these guys are driving with bow tie steering wheels. That may not be optional because you need to have a proper round wheel in touring cars. And for Rodrigo Lazowski, for example, we're looking at him right now. That is the sort of wheel you wouldn't want to have in a touring car, but he's comfortable with it either way, Brad.
Yeah, that gets down. You can get the conversation going about setup and, kind of your rig, what you're comfortable with. Quick release wheels are very, very common nowadays, and being able to switch out that gear. I know for myself personally, I have a rimmed wheel and I have a GT wheel. And depending on what I'm driving, depends on what wheel I'm using. Oh, there's a bit of a break there from Nico Godoy. And that is going to be hard contact straight into the wall for Nico Godoy. He tried to brake going into the corner, and it looks like the car behind him, they're just carrying a little bit more speed, and that results in him and Lazowski both getting shuffled back 3 wide as we go through here. And you can see Kyle Gaspar in the mix here with Pedro Mora, Rago, and Belziti. Belziti trying to hold on here. Gaspar trying to go around the outside, side by side, as the drivers run down. And you can see Gaspar just deciding to back out of it. But Pedro Mora is going to want a mix in here as well. So as we run down towards Island Bend and Shell Oil Corner for the third of 8 times here, Amir, it is still anyone's guess who's going to win this.
Absolutely, and up in front, it's about 1.6 seconds between Dean and Resende. This is what happened to Gines. As you can see, you're right to point out what you saw just now, Brad, that Gines literally got pit maneuvered into oblivion, and looks as though he's going to whack the barriers first, and he just about misses it, but unfortunately, damage is proven to be too substantial for him to continue.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing with iRacing. Once you end up on the grass, it's like you're driving on ice, and sometimes there is no recovering it. So these drivers have to be very, very careful about running wide, going too far out, because the grass, it is one of the things with iRacing that I personally don't like, is that it's very hard to recover if you hit the grass. Kyle Gaspar here is thinking about sending a lunge up the grass here, trying to get past Fabrizio Belziti. You can see Gaspar, a lot of pace there, and it's just a matter of both patience and skill. Which one is going to run out? I don't have a good answer for you, but I can tell you it's not going to be the skill part, at least.
Well, it depends on both drivers' respect as well, because we've seen how overtaking maneuvers we would try just now didn't work out, and that's what happened between Lazowski and Godoy. So let's hope that this is not a similar thing. There we go. It's, just as I said it, there is the replay in the inset of what happened to Nico Godoy. Just a bit on the late on the brakes there for Lazowski, sending Godoy into the gravel trap and into the barriers. He's kept on going while Lazowski is actually out of the race.
Yeah, not sure exactly what happened there, but Lazowski out. You can see Gunez, who is lap down, it looks like, pretty far back. Nico Godoy back as well. Cascurda, who has been back a bit. Some of our big-name drivers losing out pretty big there after lap 1, and now Lazowski's back on. Gunez is back into the pits here, and we see Kyle Gaspar as we head down through Britain's, still trying to chase down Fabrizio Belziti there in the Falcon livery number 7. He's got very, very good defense, too. I mean, he's setting the car in all the right places, hitting the apexes right, and Gaspar is just trying to have a look. And Gaspar's having to drive out of the back of his car as much as he's driving through the front. And we can see there Fabrizio Belziti, again, just settled in. Look at him, cool, calm, collected. He's just enjoying himself here, trying to just hit his apexes, keep things going, maybe try to close that gap a little bit to Victor Miranda. That's about 1.6 seconds right now.
Yeah, he should just focus on going out, looking at the front, plus nailing all the exits, because in these kind of front-wheel drive touring cars, you do not want to mess up your entry and then ultimately your exit. So that's what Belziti is doing. He's placing this car, as you said, on all the right places and preventing Gaspar from doing any overtake. Last time out, it looks as though, 0.5 of a second faster for Belziti. So he's gotten the bit between his teeth in keeping drivers behind, and then some, because he's not pulling away. He's actually close to Miranda now, more than anything.
Yeah, all of these gaps are starting to close up. You can see Dean, Villarreal, Miranda. That gap is very, very close. Jackson Resenje, we haven't really mentioned him, but he is gone. And watch this, Facundo Rago and Pedro Mora here, as Mora had a little bit of a moment there into the grass, and you can see here Rago trying to set up a move down into Shell's oil corner. There it is. Oh, that is not going to be what you want to see for a move. Pedro Mora out there as Gaston Quahavi will come around the outside and try to also pick up another position, because that was a very, very aggressive move that it doesn't seem like worked out there. You can see heavy damage on Pedro Mora's car.
Yep, and luckily the barriers were there to prevent him going into the drink. So that was a sort of pit maneuver that we've seen already since the start. It's just unfortunate that these guys cannot get the car stopped in time. So no wonder we've seen quite a few scuffed cars here right now. But for Mora, at least he's still in the race, albeit the car is just completely out of it. Here's that replay, Brad.
Yeah, and you can see, looking at that angle, it almost looks like a little bit of netcode came into play as well, which is unfortunate, but is one of the things you have to contend with iRacing. But either way, it was just right into the back and sent into the barrier. These Kia Optimas don't seem to be very kind to any of our drivers here in Heat 1.
And in particular, contact. And, well, I thought Mora was going to the pits for a second, but he ducked out of it in the final seconds, leaving Gerardo Ramos with any hope that he had for him to go into the pits, evaporating immediately. But it looks as though Mora, despite the damage in the front, he's still carrying it on and still doing quite well, despite the car looking very second-handed.
Yeah, at this point, it's going to be a balance of, does Pedro Mora want to pit, repair that damage and lose a lot of positions, or does Pedro Mora, can he drive it for these next 2 laps and then invert grid and start out in P5, starting for Heat 2? And it seems like he's picked for the lesser of the 2 evils, earn a little bit less money now, or less points now to try to earn some more points in Heat 2, which is probably, the better decision. These drivers are very, very smart when it comes to making decisions like that. You don't want me to crew chief and decide those things for you, I can promise.
Yeah, absolutely. And plus the fact that that's something probably Corentin Gines is doing, because he's right at the back and his championship rival is right all the way in front. So damage limitation, if he wants to cover the championship coming into this round, it was only about 8.7 points. The difference there is 0.7, by the way. So I don't know how that came about, but Gines will probably just be biding his time here. By the time the second race comes around, he'll probably be going full pelt to reduce the deficit that he is having right now.
I'll tell you someone who's not going to be holding back and trying to relax and bide their time. Victor Miranda. Victor Miranda around the outside here against Diego Villarreal, not having any patience on that, setting up a beautiful move through. And you can see his face there. He's very, very content with the move he just made to get himself up into P3 here in Heat 1, starting lap 7 of 8 now. But you can see that Diego Villarreal is going to have a little bit to say about that. He's going to try to fight something back. You can see he's trying to set up maybe a bit of overspeed here on the exit. Not able to set it up and going to slot in a little bit. Victor Miranda is on the chase for P2 here in Heat 1.
Yeah, he really has picked it up in the last couple of laps. But might be too little too late to go for the win here, because Resende is more than 2 seconds ahead of Pedro Dean. But though he might be able to get up to Dean in this particular case, because 8 tenths of a second, it was a second coming into it. He really is picking up in the final laps here, Brad.
Victor Miranda has, I think, kept a little bit of nitrous hidden in his back seat there that he just decided to open up here on lap 7, because he is absolutely flying. Diego Villarreal sticking close behind, Fabrizio Belziti sticking close. Sigmund and Spetronev here, we're going to jump back with them, because that is a little bit of a battle that's developing, and Elysiu is feeling the pressure from Sigmund as we go through here. Lap 7 of 8, and this is, of course, the battle for P10. But what does P10 translate to when you invert for Heat 2? It translates into P5 and P4 here, and that could be important into Heat 2. But for Heat 1, you want to finish farther ahead. Why? There's more money on the line. And as we watch here, Sigmund half a second the gap. He's going to watch that. Dean under pressure from Miranda here as we're in lap 7 of 8. And this, Amir, is going to be where we go forward to start our final lap here in Heat 1.
White flag comes out, so Miranda then 3 tenths of a second this time. Look at how much he's taken out of him, 9 tenths that time round. So Pedro Dean has to really watch his mirrors coming to the final lap here. He knows full well that he's under severe pressure from a fast charging Victor Miranda, and Miranda knows likewise he's got the bit between his teeth to actually overtake. Dean looking a little bit uncomfortable there, coming up to Cascades, and he just braked mid-corner twice, so you can tell he's trying to stabilize the car, but it may be for naught here coming up to the Shell Oils corner.
Shell Oil corner here, and it's going to be Miranda versus Dean for P2. Jackson Rasinje absolutely gone by almost 3 seconds as he's to battle, and Victor Miranda is really, really chomping at the bit to get by here as we head into Britain's. And look at that, it is almost bumper to bumper. Diego Villarreal and Fabrizio Belziti would love for these two to take each other out, because that means more points for them as we run down here, down towards Hislops and Knickerbrooks here as the drivers break. And Victor Miranda backing out a little bit there, going into the chicane, and now he's going to set it back up again. But Dean setting that car up beautifully. That Kia Optima as wide as it is fast. Now as he brings it over the hill here, Clay Hill into Water Tower, and this is going to be all she wrote for P2. It's just a couple more opportunities for Victor Miranda to try to get past. He has the speed, but it's just Dean setting that car up beautifully. Yep. Maybe a bit of a moment there, and this might open up the door for Victor Miranda into the final corner. He's going to try the long way around the outside here. Can he make this stick as we watch Jackson Rasinje cross the start-finish line? This is going to be where the battle is for P2. And no, Victor Miranda cannot get into P2. Dean, P2, Miranda, P3, Villarreal, Belziti finish our top 5, Amir.
Yeah, but he only had one opportunity after Knickerbrook, and that was at Lodge, so he could make it move there. He could make his move there, and Dean, despite the pressure coming to the final 2 laps, manages to hold on to P2. Resende, on the other hand, checked out all the way to the flag, 3 seconds ahead. What an absolutely commanding victory. And I made a bit of a slight error there. I thought Ginez would be on pole, but that's last season's rules, top 15. So he missed out by just 5 positions to be on pole. So Ginez now is right at the back again. So he literally has to work his way up through the field to get that one. Resende, though, the winner here in heat number 1, looking very good coming to heat number 2, Brad.
Absolutely. Lazowski, Godoy, and Gunez will bring it across to finish up this heat 1. Very, very good runs from everyone there. Jackson Rasinje, you can see him in the bottom left corner there on the webcam, just sitting there laughing. He is loving time right now. He is our AMX 0 points leader, and he is just absolutely enjoying himself. Gunez, not the run he wanted. He had the pace in qualifying. I really, really was expecting a lot there, but not able to make it happen here in heat 1. And like you said, he's going to have a very, very challenging heat 2. Dorado Ramos is going to be in a very, very good position, though, going in, because with that inverted top 15, he will start on pole. But as we look here and get things set up for Heat 2, Amir, what are your expectations? What did you learn from that? If you're a driver going in, we saw how Britain's was a brake check zone. We saw some spins there in Denton's and Cascades and Shell's Oil corner. Kind of, if you're a driver here into Heat 1, are you being a little more cautious into Heat 2, or are you just hoping to get a little more lucky?
Well, if I were to be starting up way in the front after having a slightly offbeat first race, I'll just be focusing on race number 2 either way, because right up in front is where you want to be. You do not want to be in that mid-pack where everything crazy happens. And probably, again, we're going to expect the same thing, Brad. It's going to be just the same chaos in race number 2, but hopefully they could keep it going in the right direction.
Absolutely, and the drivers are wasting no time getting set up on the grid here. Our 20 drivers getting set up for another 8 laps. And again, inverting the top 15, going for another 8 laps. We pay out every single time. And the drivers getting set up here, we're looking at Jackson Rasinje, Heat 1, currently sitting P15. And as you said, Amir, he's going to be in that mid-pack chaos as we get going yet again. Very, very good takeoff, though. Look at that. He is already past Victor Miranda, and there's somebody just sitting absolutely still. That's Petronev, who is sitting basically still in the grid box. But as we dive up the inside, look at this. Watch the concentration on his face. He's laughing. He's loving it. But he's also very, very focused as we run down here. And there goes somebody off in the grass. I believe that is Galoy, who has spun there. Belziti, Gaspar Diem losing places through. And look at this up the inside, but that's a big move there from Diego Villarreal. Big slide coming out of the corner. And as we head down towards Shell Oil corner for the first time, it seems like for the most part, 19 or 18 of our drivers have survived it here, Amir.
Yeah, Gilo is the one that actually got taken out. So the only American on the grid here today, unfortunately, winding up in the gravel, and he's out of it. So Gilo then is going to be the first retirement here today. But looks as though the rest of the field, all 19 of them, have gotten away relatively cleanly. But most notably, Resende, 4 positions up in just the first lap alone. That is quite a rocket ship of a start. And yet, good launch from the get-go.
Yeah, he is absolutely flying through. Everybody is flying at this point. It's a much, much tighter pack here going into Heat 2. everybody making it through Britton's and Knickerbrook with no big issues there that I could see. Everybody's single file through, settling in. Gerardo Ramos, not as much of a lead as we saw Jackson Sinjay pull out there in Heat 1. And now at this point, it is a matter of who can get past who. See a little bit of jockeying. Somebody ran a bit wide there coming out of the corner, but it looks like everybody, for the most part, holding on up the inside there. That was Elysiu on Dragos. There is some side-by-side action. Gunez, Petronev, Miranda, and there we go with Gunez down in P14, up 6 places from the start. And at this point, it's a matter of...
Sorry, Brad. He was right at the back, so at least he made up a few positions. He gets a couple of cents for his troubles, but he will rather be up there, Brad.
Yeah, absolutely. And at this point, it really is just hold your breath as we watch drivers go single file and then side by side. Something's happened with Pedro Mora, who has fallen back quite a bit here, but Healy is also putting a lot of pressure on Ramos. A lot of shuffling happening up at the front of the field. Elysiu, who seems to be jumping between 3 and P8 randomly, and kind of think that might be a connection thing that just happened there, but it looks like it's sorted itself out.
Yeah, we kind of have a bit of a problem with timing screen sometimes. You know, it goes a bit on the fritz, but luckily it's gotten back to us, and it looks as though Healy is still up in P2, only by just in front of Eliseo. So Eliseo is looking like a shark in the water right now, trying to take away his position.
Connor Healy here, the Kiwi. I don't know if he's Australian or New Zealand, so I'm going to refrain from saying that again. But Elysiu putting a lot of pressure on him there up in the front. Jackson Sinjay, Victor Miranda swapping positions a bit further back. But at the moment, it's going to be Connor Healy, and you can see him there trying to defend it very hard. He's running a bit wide. You can see he's looking there to his outside. Turns into the inside there, and that is going to be Elysiu, who's through. And then Facundo Arago, who is side-by-side in the mix as well, trying to keep the nose up the inside. It's side-by-side action there through the right-hander onto the main straight. And Facundo Arago will make his way through. But now watch this. Fabrizio Belziti is going to have a say as well. Healy's just getting absolutely bullied out of the way here, Amir. As we go into turn 1, that was a bit of contact back behind there between Healy and Belziti. But Belziti makes it through. And then there's a bit more contact, a bit of side-by-side bumping. Healy falling back into P5 there because Belziti just getting a little bit side-by-side. Arago, Elysiu not settling down either. And as I say that, they kind of give each other a bit of space. Arago's back into P3 there, Amir.
Yeah, Belziti then a bit of a touch with Healy, but it looks as though Healy just can't put up much of a staunch defense. He's just letting these guys through and probably just minding his own race for the most part. He just doesn't want to get caught up in any of the craziness. But to his credit, at least he kept it going in the right direction. And so is Belziti and Rago when they overtook him. So, yeah, that's just the kind of fate you'll have if your pace is not up there with the guys up in front.
Yeah, sometimes not having the best pace is a blessing and a curse. But if you can defend it, you can get away with it. Connor Healy just not able to defend it out as well. Battle for 7th there on the bottom right corner of your screen, and that battle for 7th is Cal Gaspar versus fabulous Fabio Zamperlini, and a big mix of other cars there as well, because this battle from about P3 all the way back until about P11, everybody's separated by less than a second all the way through. You can see Victor Miranda less than a tenth away from Fabio Zamperlini. And if you're wondering where I'm looking, just look on the left side there on your leaderboard. You can see those gaps live as they happen. And Facundo Drago is wanting to see that gap flip. He wants to get past Belziti here if he can as we go into the main straight. We're halfway through this race here, Amir. And really, Dragos has kept a very good lead. But beyond that, it's anyone's guess who's going to finish where, because things are very, very close.
Things happening so fast there. Oh, you can see that would look like, I think, Zamperlini getting blown up into the air. We saw how in the promo video just now that these guys can actually touch fairings and get launched into the air. In fact, it was Gaspar in front of Zamperlini because they're running in similarly colored cars. So it was Gaspar that was thrown into the air slightly, and in front of him, Kulhavi with a slightly dented car as well. So this is going into Battle Royale mode, Brad.
Yeah, I think the drivers know that they have just a few laps left here to try to make anything happen. Fabulous Fabio is trying to fabulously move his way forward here. And you can see behind him there, Gunez is really trying to pressure as well with Miranda. That battle for third now, the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, because look how close this battle has gotten here with Zamperlini and Miranda very, very close. Somebody braking very early there. I believe that was Victor Miranda getting on the brakes a little bit early there, going into the corner, and he is just trying to avoid causing any carnage into Britons. Almost got collected there by Gunez behind, though, and you can see Fabio Zamperlini just laughing. He wants to get that run on Kyle Gaspar as much as he can, and Kohlhavi is trying to get a run on Healy now because these drivers have grouped up to Healy very, very fast. Connor Healy is going to be under a lot of pressure, and it's all about, can he defend this position for another 4 laps? And I think that's going to be a tall ask for him. As you see up the inside, we're riding on board with Fabio Zamperlini, the best seat we could have. Connor Healy getting bullied out of the way by Kohlhavi there.
Well, he gave him plenty of space on the inside, so that's why Kohlhavi saw the invitation and took it with open arms. But Healy, to his defense, again, driving as clean as he could, despite not having to pace the battle against these guys up in front. On board now with Healy, we're looking back to Gaspar. Gaspar tries to go on the inside, and that is going to be disastrous. Keep the full throttle on. Yes, he does. Luckily, he kept it going the right direction, but that was almost expected because the door was open so wide. You thought that it was going to stay like that, but Gaspar just forced his way through.
Gaspar through the inside there in that little side-by-side contact, and Healy, again, keeps that throttle on. You said it. Great job to save that car there, because I'm just going to say, if it was me, that car would have been in the outside wall. I would not have been able to save that. So a lot of racecraft being shown from Healy there, even though he may not have the perfect pace to be running P1. And I'll tell you what, checking in with our P1 driver, it's just 0.3 of a second the gap between him and Elizeu. Elizeu has fought his way back forward. That battle for P6 has fought its way forward. So we're 3 laps to go here, Amir, and it's anyone's guess who is going to end up where.
Yeah, there's different battle packs all around. We're seeing a battle pack here up in front. In fact, behind us is actually Belzidi in the camera shot as well. So it's actually a 3-4-way battle for the lead with Facundo Rago right behind. So it's a 4 up in front, Fab 4, with another 4 further behind. Here's on board with Elizeu. We're not seeing Belzidi in our shot yet. There they are. The 2 voracious cars are line astern here, coming up as we see Diego Villarreal. No, that's Pedro Moro Villarreal. I'm not sure who goes off there, but either way, that's not going to matter. We're looking up from Ramos. Again, Elizeu just slightly faster that time around.
Absolutely. Diego Villarreal just absolutely pulled into the gravel there on the final corner, just staying out of the way. Look at that battle for 6th on the bottom right. That is going to be someone going way off. Who was that? Because I missed which car that was, but somebody went off. I think it was Diego Villarreal again. But look at this. Side by side there, the battle for 6th. Victor Miranda, Gunez, Gaspar. Gaspar losing out several places there on the bottom side. But also, if you look at your main screen, Ramos on this lap 6 of 8, having to defend very, very hard from Elizeu. Jackson Resenje passing with Nico Godoy side by side. Gaspar, Zamperlini again battling it through, and this is heating up all through the field. It's really action anywhere you want to look. But the big question right now for me is who can secure this P1 spot and bring home the 7 points that you get for finishing in P1 here in Heat 2. Couple of laps to decide it, and it looks like right now, if I had to be a betting man based on those sector timings, it is going to be Elizeu, and it's a matter of when, not if. What do you think, Amir?
Yeah, I'm willing to bet that Ramos will just try to place the car in the right positions. Again, he does have to go narrow. He doesn't need to defend too hard because he knows full well that if you go narrow in a touring car trying to brake, you're going to compromise your exit. It's all about exits in these cars, and he's just needing to focus on his exits and try not to defend too hard here, Brad.
Absolutely, and the more Ramos and Elizeu battle, the more Belzidi and Arago get into the mix, and the more interesting those battles will get, because then you go from 2 cars in the mix to 4 cars in the mix, and look at this, Elizeu with a run up the inside. He's got just enough front bumper in the mix to stay on the inside. Here we go, inside Elizeu, outside the Ramos. Ramos is going to run it a bit wide. Elizeu will try to hold on, but it looks like Ramos gets enough of a run there on the exit to try to hold on, and the inside turns to the outside here into the left-hander, and it is going to be at the moment Ramos holding on. Belzidi trying to get through as well. Elizeu gets a little bit of grass there on the right-hand side. Ramos slips in, and Belzidi will get his way up into P2 here as we head towards Shell Corner.
Well, that's good driving from Ramos. In fact, he used the outside there to gain back, lost momentum. A bit of a touch there from Elizeu and Belzidi, which allows Rago through. But Ramos, with brilliant racecraft, he just used the outside line to perfection. It had enough of momentum carry it forward and still hang on to the lead as Rago and Belzidi Rago and Eliseu there go side by side. That's going to lose them a few tenths, and they've lost touch to Belzidi in second. So now it's going to be a battle on the podium between just the two of them.
Yeah, 2-1 does not work there for Rago and Eliseu, trying to run side by side into Britton's and then into Knickerbrooks and Hislops. And you can see they kind of settled things out after that, but it is over 2 seconds the gap now as we continue to watch, because now watch who's going to come up behind them. Gaston Kohlhavi. Gaston Kohlhavi, a driver with a lot of pace, and we are going to see a very competitive battle. I think Eliseu might just be a little bit upset that he's down into P4 now. He's going to battle very, very hard here going into the end. And look in that bottom right corner of your screen there, because you can see Victor Miranda and Gunez, who are making things very difficult for each other too, as we watch still that battle for P6 that continues to develop through. Trying to keep our eyes on. White flag is out, Amir, and at this point for Eliseu, it's just a matter of pride getting back onto P3.
Yeah. And speaking of pride, it's also an honors up at the front with Belzidi now being the chaser to Gerardo Ramos. Eliseu was the one that did the chasing just now, but unfortunately he came a cropper with his battle with Facundo Rago, so they're going to battle it out for P3 here. We're looking further behind. In fact, 3 different battle flags. P6, we're seeing Miranda and Ginez. P3, we're seeing Rago and Eliseu, and of course P1 we saw Ramos and Belzidi. So 3 different battles then to focus on in this final lap, Brad.
Hold your breath for half a lap and stick with us. This is what AMX 0 is all about as we watch here Eliseu Rago battling it out here down in your bottom right corner. As Amir said, it's all to play for every position at this point. And here we go, Belzidi, as we head into Hislops down into Knickerbrooks. Ramos defending beautifully here, but Belzidi does have a bit of a run, it seems. And now watch this, the 3-way battle in for P3 here as we watch Eliseu Rago. And here we go, Belzidi. This is going to be where he needs to make a run here. Up Clay Hill, down Water Tower. Hold your breath through Druids. And he does just settle in right behind. I think he's going to look for a final corner lodge. He gets a bit better of a run here out of the final corner. It's all about, and Gerardo Ramos hold on for the win. Look at this, around the outside is going to be how Belzidi tries it. And nope, not close enough, but can he get a switchback, run up the hill here for the final time as we hit the flag man? It is going to be Gerardo Ramos coming across to win Heat 2 here in AMX 0. Fabrizio Belzidi P2, and then it is Rago, Eliseu, Kohlhavi, Miranda, Gunez. That battle for P6 settling itself out. Zamperlini, Gaspar, Sigmund. You could read them as we go down through the rest of the field. And that, P2 had a lot of action, and that was a lot to keep up with there, Amir.
Absolutely, and amazingly, despite the closest of the battles, we didn't even see an overtaking maneuver happen in that final lap. Ramos went narrow coming to the final corner, but that proved to be the right decision because he managed to stop Belzidi's momentum all the way to the line. And Belzidi, despite throwing the kitchen sink at it, did not get by Gerardo Ramos. And Ramos then with a deserved win here, and I think that might just be his 3rd win of the season.
I believe it was in a very, very good win, and I'm going to channel my inner Reed here. He threw a very clean kitchen sink at it, I must say. Very, very clean, good battles all the way through. Final standings as we get them pulled up here. Again, very, very competitive. And Gerardo Ramos did very, very well to keep the fight going all the way to the end. Fabrizio Belzidi, a lot of pace, wasn't able to make it through. Facundo Rago, P3, and Eliseu had such a good run all the way through the top, but just wasn't able to hold on to it. A little bit of contact there around lap 6, knocked him back into P4. Jackson Resenje, we see coming across the line there, finished P18, which is very out of character for Jackson Resenje, I must say, Amir.
Yeah, converse to his stunning performance in race number 1. Race number 2 did not go the way that he would have planned. But in terms of plan, Gerardo Ramos probably planned that final lap very well to prevent Belzidi from overtaking and Rago in 3rd. So that was a well-deserved win there for the Iberian.
Absolutely. Some other big names to mention there. Kyle Gaspar, Fabio Zamperlini in the mix. Victor Miranda with a strong P6 there. Nico Godoy finishing P12. Very, very good moves all the way through. Pedro Mora in that P17. Again, Jackson Resenje P18. Very out of character for him. And I have to say, that's a very, very fun little AMX 0 run that we had there at Alton Park. while we do have AMX 10 coming up, I'm going to ask our residential friend, Reed. Reed, if you're here with us, I think we're coming back. What did you think about the AMX Zero races, since you got to just sit back and enjoy?
I feel like my experience during that race was very similar to Jackson Hisenje in Heat 1, where you get such a good start to the race that you're kind of playing single player a little bit. So while I had my wheel here imaginarily, I feel like both of us were racing against very similar numbers of players. Really, really polarizing heats, right? We had heat number 1 where the lead just like zooms out into the distance. A bunch of people crash out, and it's like, okay, what are we doing here? And then it seemed like heat number 2, everybody sort of figured out, got their bearings with the Kia, and really figured out the full track layout of Alton Park, and were able to put together a much more competitive race down to the wire. And even though, as you anticlimactically pointed out, Brad, there weren't any overtakes there at the final moments, it's about the possibility. So exciting down to the wire. I had a lot of fun watching, and I hope everybody else out there did too, whether you're watching or racing. Amir, do you have a favorite moment from today's races?
I think it had to be the 3 battle packs we saw towards the end. First and second, third and fourth, sixth and seventh. We just had even our camera director couldn't know which to focus on. That goes to show
Yeah.
how exciting it was to go into that final couple of laps.
Well, that's going to do it for our AMX Zero race for today. A lot of action, and if you guys missed any of that action, don't worry, you can catch it all over again on our YouTube channel, AMX Global, on YouTube. So make sure to go out there and check it out, because that is it's a place where you can find clips, highlights, replays, and everything else you need from AMX Global League Season 3 today and every other day of this season. So make sure to head on over there. And if you are watching on Twitch, make sure to like and subscribe. We'd love to hear from you there. So join the community that way. There's a lot of other ways that you can get involved and join the community too. You can follow us on social media. You can see it all right down below your screen, but it's primarily Instagram and Twitter. Send us your thoughts, tweet us a meme or whatever you want to do. We'd love to interact with you on social media. And if you'd like to join the AMX community, you can do that by joining the AMX Global Discord by clicking on the link link below the stream, but also you can find it on amxrace.com, which coincidentally is also where you can sign up to race with us in races like today's AMX Zero race for free, or the pinnacle of AMX competition, AMX 10. That is what's coming up. We're racing GT4s on Jerez, so it's going to be a really, really fun combination. Some of the best drivers in AMX Global League Season 3 are coming up. You do not want to miss it, so make sure to stay tuned while we take a quick break, and then we'll be coming back with AMX 10 and a whole lot more. You do not want to miss it. We'll see you soon.
to save our home. We must travel through the gateway to find new energy.
Hello and welcome everyone to Jerez de la Frontera for a beautiful sunny day south of Seville. We are on the Circuit de Jerez-Ángel Nieto. It is a good day to be here because this circuit's a little bit new for us. But we're going to be racing some old favorites in the GT4 cars, so we will have at least some benchmarks, and I hope you guys are ready for an absolutely thrilling day of AMX 10, the pinnacle of competition here in AMX Global League Season 3. And here to talk about it are my good friends Brad and Amir. Brad, how you doing today?
Reed, I'm doing good. It's a nice Wednesday night. It's nice and cool outside. And, I mean, we're sim racing. What more can I ask for, really? Don't answer that, because I know there's things that I can ask for.
I was about to say, I got 3 wishes, and still haven't used them yet. So, Amir, what are you expecting from our time on Jerez today with GT4s?
Yeah, I'm expecting a real close battle from top to bottom because judging by how the lap times are in just practice, it's pretty close. It's about 3 seconds from 1st to 16th, so and that's only practice. We're not seeing actual pace being set here yet, so I'm expecting some close quarter combat, especially with a variety of GT4 cars that we have here today, Reed.
Yeah, and we've got some really cool, really competitive cars, drivers, and times. If you're racing like a Formula One car out here on Jerez, you're going to get around it in about 1:23. But for Formula or for GT4s, add 10-20 seconds onto that. But as we slow things down in the cars, they get a little bit more accessible, and our drivers get to really show off their racecraft, which is what they will be doing today as we get on to what should be a pretty full grid of competitors. Excited to talk about those, but before we get into the actual race, let's go ahead and break things down. I just did this a few minutes ago. If you're new, I'll blaze through it real fast. 3 months of competition, $25,000 on the line, 72 races in the season, and we're qualifier, Heat 1, Heat 2, reverse grid in between. Done. I'm racing through the announcements today. If you would like to race in AMX 10, which is coming up, you need to join via video. You can find the video link on our Discord server as well as on the AMX website, amxrace.com, where you can sign up to race anytime. It's right there. Also, we pay out balances over $100 every month, and it's actually not that difficult to get a balance over $100 if you are racing in AMX 10. It does usually cost $10 to enter, but with a $600 prize pool, I think it'd be probably pretty worth it for the most part, and we've got some special announcements about that coming up in just a few seconds. If you are in America, you can race in AMX 10 on Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's 9 p.m. or 9:20 p.m. rather on Wednesdays for AMX 10. AMX 10 starts at 2:20 p.m. on the weekends, Saturday, Sunday in the afternoon. You can join AMX 10 at 2:20 p.m. And if you are in Europe, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, late in the night, 3:20 a.m. Man, I don't know what you guys are doing. Europe, 3:20 a.m., racing in AMX 10. Crazy. But actually we have a lot of European drivers, so shout out to you guys racing way late in the afternoon, or I guess it's the afternoon of the evening. Don't ask me what that means. I didn't plan this, guys. Saturday, Sunday, it's a little bit more accessible if you want to race in the evenings European time, so I'd love to have you out here on the weekends too. Now, all right, pay no attention to the UFO in the background. We got to talk about the prize pool. What are our racers racing for today? The answer is $40 first place prize for qualifier Heat 1, Heat 2, a total of $601 on the line, just so we can say that there's more than $600 prize pool. We're really thinking ahead here, guys. But also, we were paying out to the top 15 for qualifier Heat 1, Heat 2. So it's a very broad, generous split. And if you place 8th or higher just once, you're making back your entry fee already. So it is still accessible. little bit more high stakes on the line, so you're going to see our racers sort of treated a little bit more seriously. And we do really have a lot of our drivers level up for AMX 10. Get a lot of pro drivers from around the world who do join for this series, and it is the pinnacle of competition this season, season 3 of AMX Global League. So it's going to be really exciting to kind of see them set the benchmark. But we're not just racing for prize money this season. Thanks to our friends at Next Level Racing, we are going to be giving the AMX 10 champion an FGT Elite. And of course, a big thanks to Next Level for partnering with us. If you guys are in the market for a sim racing cockpit, look no further. The Next Level Racing, they have a wide variety, range of cockpits and accessories to go with them for basically anything you're trying to do with sim racing. So definitely check out Next Level Racing, and a big thanks to them for providing a grand prize for AMX 10 this season. Now a look at who is in the running for those prizes, the money, everything on the line. Diogo Pinto, 8 races, almost $600. And I really like shouting out Josh Thompson, who's only raced 4 times, but is still squeezing into the top 12, even though he's only been here a few times. So really a who's who of the AMX 10 top 12 total prize winnings. This is cumulative, so this is really not a measure of skill necessarily, but it's skill and perseverance, dedication. You're coming out here, you're getting up every day to race in AMX, and this is a drop-in, drop-out league, so you can race as much or as little as you want, but those standings really tell the tale of the guys that get out here all the time. Now, if you're looking to get some sort of a power ranking, who's the strongest, who does the best on the day, look no further than Enzo Benito, Diogo Pinto, Chris Lellum, really just a who's who of Team Redline racers up at the top. If you go down to ninth place, you're going to hit Max Verstappen, who's only raced here twice and is still up there, and Matteo Olazola, who raced once and it's good enough for a 12th place spot. Power rankings looking really, really competitive this season, and excited to showcase some of the best drivers out there who have put a lot of time and hard effort, not only into becoming great drivers, but into racing with us in AMX 10. If you'd like to race with us in AMX 10, usually it costs you about $10, but for a limited time only this month, if you are one of the first 10 entrants into AMX 0, that means you're going to amxrace.com, you're hitting the AMX 10 ticket, you're buying it, it's free. First 10 racers, every race will get in for free. So if you guys wanted to do that, you can head over to amxrace.com, sign up, and if you're fast enough, you get into AMX 10 for free, compete for $601 every single race. Sounds like a pretty good deal to me. Once again, amxrace.com is the place to do that, to sign up for races like this and a whole lot more. So let me go ahead and turn things over to my good friends, our commentators, Brad, Namir. Brad, why don't you break down where we are racing here today?
Yeah, we're racing at Circuito de Jerez, which is in Spain, opened in 1985, 4.428 kilometers south. It's in the sherry producing region in the south of Spain, which is a fun little fact to note. It is, it's got some big name corners like Curva Michelin, it's got Chicane Senna, Curva Ferrari, big fun track. It's seen several Formula 2 races, MotoGP class runs there, and it's a very, very different track compared to different things. It should be fun to watch these GT4 cars go around on.
Wow.
Yep.
Spoiler alert, Brad. Why you got to do us that way? Okay. I wonder what we're racing today, Amir.
Yeah, we're racing in the GT4 class, and you can see there on screen, that's the BMW and the Mercedes. Some really nice cars here. And let's not forget, we also got McLarens, Porsches, and Aston Martin. So 5 different makes in the roster, and all of them are actually represented today in the 20-car field. In fact, in this 16-car field in today's race. So really, then, quite excited to see how they would go around the Circuito de Jerez, aka the circuit of Ángel Nieto, named after the 13th time, 12 plus 1, if you want to put it specifically, because that's how he would like to refer, world champion in the motorcycle category. 350 to 500 horsepower, rear-wheel drive, just a shade above 1400 kilos, and sequential gearbox. So same like the cars that we saw just now, which was the Kia Optimus. It's going to be hand pedal shifters this time, not the sequential shifters on the stick that we saw previously. So we'll be raring to go here with these cars around the Circuito de Jerez.
Now we just get to chill out and watch the amazing GT4 cinematic. Oh, so beautiful.
Level of detail, though, is really nice.
I'm gonna make a controversial statement here, and Aston Martin, one of the best looking GT4s that we have in iRacing. I know the BMW is typically everyone's favorite, and I'm really, really much a Porsche fan, but the Aston Martin just looks really good.
Yeah, it has the shape of the GT3 car, and it still maintains it even with less aero. So I'll agree with that one, Brad. That really is the pick of the bunch, and we're here now in qualifying.
All right, check your PayPal, Brad. I think you might have a check from Daddy Stroll. No, but I mean, you're right. There's like aestheticism, there's aesthetics, and then there's functionality, right? And so while you will probably see quite a few BMWs today, we are representing just about every make and model possible for these guys out here, and we're doing it in style. We have some amazing racers joining us today. Gael Valero, previous World Championship competitor. We also have Victor Miranda, who is got that Black Bar Pro license out here, and still some of the holdovers from AMX Zero. You're going to recognize a lot of familiar faces racing with us today. And of course, GT4 cars are by far one of the biggest classes out there. I think GT3 might be maybe a little bit more popular, but that's the whole point, right? We're getting out there in a lot of different cars, and so we're not only seeing who's the best on the day on the track in these cars, but also a little bit of our own little AMX power ranking for which make and model does best. So hopping on board with Gerardo Ramos to see what he has to show us today, besides his pretty cool livery out there. Honestly, ever since they added helmet liveries, I was just like, okay, this is actually a little bit more exciting than car liveries. I don't know. What's your helmet livery like, Brad?
I am a Shrill, and I run a lot of mock F1 liveries on iRacing because I am, that guy. They say the rule is that if you see someone with an F1-esque livery, to avoid them at all costs. So I kind of follow that rule, and I run a lot of F1-inspired liveries. So a lot of my helmets are just kind of matching that. You'll catch me in a Williams livery with a Williams helmet. Red Bull livery, Red Bull helmet. I kind of I make it all match. It just makes sense.
What about you, Amir? Do you have an iconic helmet you like to run?
Yeah, more towards same like Brad as well, but to an extent I just have more affinity with like Ferrari, for example. I just go for helmets like Lauda's helmet or Schumacher's helmet, especially the one with the red stars, red helmet with the stars. Yeah, I just like those ones because it just feels very confidence inspiring, that that it's a race winning design, and it just makes you feel like you can drive faster with those. So that's why I prefer to just go with something like what Zamplini is doing with Lando Norris. He feels comfortable with that, so he just goes with it. So that's why some guys, they just prefer to follow the real world designs, and I'm pretty much like Brad in that camp.
Yeah, I actually used to think that was like part of his Duck Hawk Racing car livery, but it's actually just a Lando helmet. So nice try, buddy. Nah, but this is Fabio Zamperlini. He usually has some pretty inspired liveries, but today he is shilling for Duck Hawk Racing, the team he is representing. So I can't blame him there. But in the Mercedes, running around the track, not doing too badly, is Facundo Arago. I don't know what to expect from this guy. He's really hot and cold depending on what you're racing, but he does not do badly in GT4, so should expect some good things from him. Representing, of course,
Voracious.
Voracious.
Okay,
Voracious, I keep thinking, how many V words that mean something aggressive there are? There's just like a lot, guys. So they picked Voracious, and I'll do my best to pick that one also as we check out our times that start to come back in, and to no one's surprise at all, we have Quarantine Guinness, and I'll bet you we got Guile Valero up there pretty soon. Let's check out Lucas Sigmund, though. He is also on Voracious Racing, so glad I figured that one out. Thanks, guys. 23, Lucas Sigmund on Instagram if you want to check him out there. And, of course, representing Argentina. Let's see what he can do, because he does have quite a few teammates in here. He, Belziti, and Facundo Rago all on the same team from the same place. And, Sigmund's in the McLaren today. I think he is our sole McLaren driver. So, might get a chance to ask him, hey, why'd you pick that one when nobody else did? So, kind of an interesting choice. Glad to see him representing that make here today.
Yeah, Lucas Sigmund, good choice with the McLaren, I'm going to say. But, yeah, the lonely McLaren, and I'm curious to know why he chose it. Looking at Pedro Mora here, 151.567. Pretty good time there in the Aston Martin. You mentioned it already, Reed, but I'm going to bring attention to it. Looking at the I ratings over on the left-hand side, we do have 2 pro licenses, 2.7K there with Ocano, and then you run it all the way up. Most people are floating somewhere in the middle. So it's going to be a very, very competitive lobby. But, Amir, I'm sure you're going to back me on this. GT4 is one of those classes that I think regardless really of your I rating, it's a class of car that pretty much everyone in iRacing has a lot of experience with, because it seems like most people, once they get done with the MX-5s and they start moving up, and you get access to GT4, you find a GT4 you like, and then you drive it, you drive it, you drive it, you drive it, and I think you see where I'm going with this, right, Amir?
Yeah, I can vouch for you on that one, because they're very driver friendly, because it was meant to cater to gentlemen guys or guys that are just starting to find their feet in slightly more high powered cars compared to, say, what you mentioned by the MX-5s or the Optimus, God forbid, because those things are way slower compared to these things. But yeah, these cars are sort of like a perfect gateway to much bigger things. Of course, GT3s, GT1s on iRacing, or even the Formula 1 cars like the Mercedes W13 as well. So really then, it's just sort of perfect balance between going flat out, but at the same time, you can still find a bit more control compared to some of the other car classes.
Take a look at our spotlight on Guile Valero Guile. I don't actually know which is the correct order. His social media is Valero Guile. I kind of thought Guile was the first name. So, yeah, we're just going to go with Guile Valero. There it is. Either way, by far one of our most talented drivers out here. Pro license, 28 years old, and he's been sim racing basically forever, since the dawn of time. And just because he's putting up yellow sectors right now doesn't mean he's bad, guys. It just means he already set such a fast lap. It's a little bit tough to improve on that every single time. But he and his countryman, Quarantine Guinness, battle it out for the top spot. You'll be seeing some purple sectors here pretty soon as the Frenchman up there towards the top in the Porsche and BMW respectively set probably some of our fastest lap times today. Would not be a bit surprised. Guile Valero way on top of, or at least in the mix for the most fastest laps in AMX Global League Season 3, so you can see why he is very, very fast. Let's see how long he can maintain one of those top 2 spots.
Yeah, and given the fact that Jerez is also the host of, what at that time was also the European Grand Prix for Formula 1, we saw the closest ever qualifying session, and I do mean close, literally. It's literally 3 drivers setting the exact same time. So Heinz-Harald Frentzen, Jacques Villeneuve, and Michael Schumacher in that infamous Grand Prix that time. So I would bet some bit of bottom dollar to see if we could get exactly close times there. But at least 3 drivers are within the 49, so it's boding well for now.
Watching Victor Miranda there.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, watching Victor Miranda there, if we were to compare this to Formula 1, track limits every day.
Track limits to Ocon, of course.
Oh, too soon? No, I mean, it is rough. I mean, anywhere's rough if you haven't driven it a lot. But, I mean, this is not incredibly, like, conceptually difficult track. It's mostly just can you handle back and forth? Reminds me a little bit of Gumby, but especially as you come through the main straightaway. You are just flooring it into a super sharp hairpin, and so, yeah, there might be a few of those. Not to mention, I think actually one of the lower Formula classes actually runs the MotoGP variety of this circuit. I think it's Formula 3 do it, which is always kind of interesting to me. We're not doing that today. It's just a Grand Prix layout, so nothing super crazy about what we're doing here. I don't even know how many alternate layouts there are for Jerez, but it is our first time out on Jerez this season, so we get a chance to see what our drivers can do. Hopefully they've had more time to either practice that earlier today. Practice is open for about an hour before the race starts, so some of our racers like to get out there, practice it up. Or if they have raced in other tournaments, because it's not like it's completely unpopular. So let's see what the level of familiarity looks like as we hop on board with Fabrizio Belziti, a guy that we have seen way up at the top of the standings, but is a little bit inconsistent depending on if or exactly how familiar he is with the car or the track or whatever's going on in the day. Currently sitting at a 150.8, which is good enough for top 10. I think we might get a little bit more than that. What do you think?
Yeah, they're already faster than the actual real-world times, three of them at least, because the lap record for a GT4 around here is a 150. So it's already going quite well here when you see that the fast guys are coming to the fore. What do you think, Brad?
Yeah, fast guys are showing that they're fast. It's a storybook that I think we can all write. But times are still really close. 149 at the top with Akana with a 152.9 at the bottom. I mean, still, the spread is not that far for a track this size, this style. Again, inverted grid, so top 15 get inverted, which means that really only Okano is at risk of starting P16. But if we've seen race starts in the past, and I know all of us have, really it's going to be a matter of can this man up here, Corten Gunez, with representing Team Sim RC, gets flipped down into P15. Can he survive the first lap, the first couple of corners? Going through Curva Michelin, Curva Danny Pedrosa, it's really just going to be a mix of can the drivers make their way through, survive lap 1, and find their way around to work their way back P15 to P1 when Heat 1 hits. And Reed, I'm going to tell you that's a tall order.
Yes, but if anyone can order that tall order, it's going to be our drivers here today. Already, look at some of these green sectors being set. Zamperlini improving up to 4th. That's not bad. We are almost out of time here in qualifying, so you really got to get those laps in. Zamperlini coming home in the final 3 minutes to put up a 4th place time. Not bad. And almost 8 thousandths of a second away from getting into that top 3, setting that 150.008 time. Really good. So Zamperlini has some experience here. He's making it work. Let's see if Lucas Sigmund, one of the other voracious racing drivers, can improve as he is down in the 152s at the bottom. We took a look at his player profile a little bit earlier, but let's see if he can improve here. Heading across the finish line for what should be his final or next to final time. And some green sectors in there, but not enough to climb up the standings.
Yeah, I don't think times will be tumbling anymore soon because 49 is pretty much the ceiling for the fast guys. But for some of the other ones still out on track, they may be able to improve. Valero, conversely, has not been able to improve. He's still second place behind his fellow countryman, Gines, by about 0.2 of a second. So they're comfortable up there. Miranda's not going to do any more. He's already back in the pit lane. So they're already settling in for the race, Brad.
Yeah, again, that one lap pace is amazing, and I think we're really going to see, because GT4 is kind of your bread and butter in iRacing once you start working up. We're going to see a lot of these guys get really comfortable in the race, and I think we're going to see a big difference in kind of our race action that we see compared to what we saw in AMX 0. Just a minute left, and at this point, there's just a few guys that can finish up a lap here, Reed, as we go into the final 50 seconds.
Yeah, that's right. We don't have a progress bar to see exactly where our drivers are, but you can just check out the track if you're familiar enough with it. Pedro Mora on a burner. Some big improvements here, so he should actually have a nice improvement as he comes around. Will he be able to finish it in time? Yeah, he's got 30 seconds left, so he should be able to put that time home. Let's see where Pedro Mora improves to as he rounds the final corner into the straightaway. Here we go. This should be enough for quite a big improvement. And, it's a yellow sector at the end, so in the end, the improvement is just one place. I really hyped that up, and you kind of let me down, Pedro.
Yeah, he bled a bit of time in the final sector there, but luckily for him, he'll be starting at the sharp end of the grid, right up in P5 on row 5. Row 3, my bad.
Pretty competitive qualifying all the way through. Corentin Junez brings it home, though, with that 149.444. See him down the bottom right. Looks real relaxed. Very, very happy with that performance. $40 going in his pocket. Gaio Valero not that far behind. And then you have the Tony Kanaan guys, P3, P4. At least you, Victor Miranda, looking very, very competitive. You can kind of read the rest of the way through there, Reed. And it sets us up for what should be a competitive 2 heats coming our way.
I concur, Brad. We are about ready to get started with our first of 2 very competitive heats at AMX 10 Race 16. Throw it over to you guys. Brad and Amir, take it away for AMX 10 Race 16.
Yep, thank you, Reed. And we're going to be ready now for the start of race 16 cars on the grid. And again, like the similar story in qualifying in Alton Park, Corentin Junez gets on pole, but the big question is, will he survive it this time, Brad?
That is to be decided as we wait on the last couple of cars to grid up here. And of course, we are getting set up for Heat 1 of 2. And again, if Heat 1 doesn't go your way, Heat 2 might. Still, looks like a couple cars missing from the grid here. And Amir, what is going to be the key, in your opinion, on surviving this first heat and kind of working your way forward if you are one of the guys that got shuffled back?
Yeah, I think it's just to not get taken out of turn 1, which it's not much of a choke point because look at how wide the entry is, because you can tell this is a circuit that was made for bike racing because of how wide the entry is. But it does tighten up coming into the second and third corners from then on, because it really becomes a bit of a Constantino effect when the cars close up. So here we have a look at the grid. Sigmund, after qualifying 15th, will be on pole position in front of Villarreal, his fellow South American, Argentine and Uruguayan up in front, with Rafael Casacurta in third place, just on the same row as his fellow countryman Rodrigo Lazowski. The thing is, look at the grid here. We got some proven race winners already, and those guys have actually managed to hold off faster guys behind, like for example Gerardo Ramos we saw in Alton Park. Would it be the same case in different cars? We'll have to wait and see. But for sure, it's a completely mixed up grid with the guys at the back really have to work their way up to the front, Brad.
Absolutely, and that Porsche iRacing safety car leading these GT4 cars around, it's only appropriate that you get a pace lap in whenever we have these GT4s through. One of the biggest names I'm going to be watching for is going to be Jackson Resenje, our AMX 0 points leader. He has very, very good runs in AMX 10, so he's going to be one that I'm very interested to see how they go through. And you can see, I feel bad for Carlos Acano. Carlos Acano qualifying P16, the only driver that didn't get his position shuffled. But Carlos Acano might also be very happy for that, because it's going to be a matter of kind of sitting back and watching for about a little over a third of the way through the lap here, about to hit the halfway point. And it is going to be a very, very competitive run, I think, through that first lap. No standing start, which is, I think, a good thing here, because the drivers are all going to have a bit of a run through, but it is, of course, a very, very sharp 180 left-hander going into the starting straight here. And Amir, this is a newer track to iRacing. It just came out in March or April of this year, I believe. I don't know what your experience is with this track.
I think mostly on bike games, actually, because MotoGP is, of course, where this circuit is familiar with, because it is the Spanish Grand Prix. What you can get away with on a bike is not similar when you can get away with a car. But then again, it is something that you will love because, for one, overtaking is actually quite a premium here. So you really have to outbrake somebody in certain areas. In a car, on a bike, yeah, you're gonna get overtaken easily, even through some of these corners like these double right-handers. So defense will be the key here, Brad.
As we run through here, we hit the right-hander, and if we are running MotoGP, this is where the chicane Senna is at. Well, we are taking the chicane Senna here in the iRacing layout. And now as we come around here, we run through the curve of Ferrari. Just a little bit more of the lap to go here, and this should be about the time where we see the iRacing pace car pull off. That is going to give control of the field over to Lucas Sigmund and Diego Villarreal, who will decide when we go. It's McLaren up front. I love saying that. And as we go through, we're listening for that iRacing spotter to call out green, green, green.
Oh,
and
there we go.
Somebody has already spotted the back. Who was that? Because that's back of our field already down. Fabio Zamperlini breaks traction. We're 4 wide in the front. So this is action before we can even hit the first turn. Now, as we go through, it's 3 wide around. Amir, we didn't make it to turn 1, but we've had action already.
Yeah, that's kind of like the dangers of a rolling star. I wanted to mention that to you just now when you were saying that it might be my safer as. Oh, there it goes. It looks as though that's Villarreal gets collected by the Aston of Pedro Mora, and that is pretty much the end of their races. Look at that. That Porsche is missing a wheel on the rear right. But rolling stars are often the most dangerous because the guys at the front might check up the rear, might check up the guys at the front when they start braking, and that's exactly what happened when Sigmund was controlling the pace up in front, Brad.
Yeah, Lucas Sigmund with a very, very good start there. Diego Villarreal was running P2, is now unfortunately going to be out there in last place, having to reset to the pits. Facundo Rago is putting a bit of pressure there on Fabrizio Belziti there in P2 and P3. The fellow countrymen running the same car, the teammates there with the voracious racing. And here is the start incident, and it was a case of people checking up and just not enough room for all of those drivers to brake and kind of go out of the way. And that set our entire back half of the grid from P11 back off on the wrong foot early on. But Kano, who was an 11, he's now showing out. Nope, he's back at P11. Started P16. He got a bit of a good run. He lucked out a bit there, up 5 places. You can see all of our big-time losers there. Fabio Zamperlini, Elisiu, Valero, and Mora, who all lost out big time, having to check up and stop there on the start straight. Lucas Sigmund currently in that P1 place, but for how long as we watch Fabrizio Belziti put a lot of pressure on the way. Amir, we're down the main straight. Lap 1 of 8 is done.
Indeed, and there goes Belziti up in front. He had a good run out of the final corner. The McLaren, though, I think I can see why it's the least picked car in the entire grid. It doesn't have enough of the grunt compared to the Mercedes, the Astons, and the Porsche on the straight. So really, then he's just sitting down. Through the corners, he's fast, but this is though Sigmund might just have to bank on that particular car's ability for the entire race. And speaking of end of lap point just now, there was a driver that entered pit lane. That looked like Victor Miranda. So Miranda's in the pit lane probably before jumping the start, I would say.
Now looking at the bottom right here, we're getting a replay of that crash on lap 1 that happened there with Villarreal and going in to Pedro Mora. That was a big hit there. Thankfully, we're in sim racing, so nobody's hurt or anything. It just knocks you out of the race. Look at that dive up the inside there from Facundo Rago, getting past Lucas Sigmund there. Now, you mentioned the McLaren. The McLaren has a lot of pace in the corners, which does make it strong through the middle and back sector of the track. But during those long straights, the main straight in turn 1, turn 5, and turn 6, it puts it under a lot of pressure. And now we can see a lot of pressure from Gunes and Lazowski here, as Gunes is able to make his way up the inside. That number 19 trying to carve its way through the field here, as Lazowski is trying to hold on there. And Lazowski is running the Porsche, and so is Gunes as well. Porsche is a very, very well-rounded GT4, and I would imagine that Gunes is going to be able to extract a lot of pace out of it here, Amir.
Absolutely, Brad. And again, Porsche proved that they can build any car for any regulation and just make it really fast. And case in point, the 718 in both variations have been very good. So Gines, likewise, has been able to extract more of the car. And he's been able to survive the first lap mayhem to make up 11 positions from where he started. So, man has proven himself to be worthy of that title and then some, because he's now right up on the cusp of a podium. So he's done the opposite of what happened to him in Alton Park.
Absolutely. We see Kyle Gaspar getting past Gerardo Ramos there, and that is going to be settling in. Now watch the pressure that Gunez is going to start putting on Lucas Sigmund here as we go through the McLaren versus the Porsche. Porsche, a very well-rounded car, but the McLaren very, very sticky in the corners, but Cortin Gunez just has that little bit more pace there, and you can see Sigmund trying to fight it, trying to do a little bit of a switchback, a little bit slower entry for a little bit faster exit, but just not enough grip there in that McLaren coming out of the corner exit there with Gunez, who just had a very good run. Lucas Sigmund into P4, but again, it says he's down 3 places, but still, he's holding his own all the way through this race. And now for Gunez, he's just 0.3 of a second off of Sindarago. He's going to start pushing his way forward again. I do think a P1 is on for him at the way these drivers are running through. Watch that battle on the bottom right for 8th, though, Amir, and just keep your eyes on the action happening there, because there's plenty of dives being had as they're 2x2x2 in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, so that said, they're actually, this might be delayed footage because we're seeing right now the leaders coming through, and there's the top 8 battle there as goes Gunez on the inside of Rago. Rago's actually fallen way behind his teammate. Oh, that's a touch! And Rago's got tapped out there. Unfortunately, the pit maneuver was almost inevitable because he left the door open, cut across, and Gunez had nowhere to go.
Facundo Arago being spun there. There's a dive up the inside from Jackson Resenje on Kyle Gaspar. Getting around and through, these drivers are absolutely going for it now. We're lap 4 of 8. We've hit the halfway point. As we cross the line, we'll see some lap times come through, and you can see Fabrizio Belziti still pulling out a gap. You can see there Kyle Gaspar with a lot of pace, especially compared to Sigmund and Lazowski. But the big loser there, Facundo Arago, being spun there by Gunez and dropping back, and now it's just a matter of can he pull his way forward. Jackson Resenje has some front-end damage, and I don't know if he got that from that starting incident there coming out of the final corner, but it doesn't seem like it's slowing his pace any. He seems very, very comfortable in the position he's in right now.
Yeah, you can't get away with a few bumps and dents in these kind of cars because they're built much tougher compared to, say, single-seaters, but if the damage is quite substantial, then you might see the performance drop even more. Rashende, though, he's happy to be there. He's just sticking around, knowing the fact that the guys on the podium are still right there with him, as we see a battle, or more rather a replay that happened between Gunez and Rago. Rago, as you can see, that cut across. He tried to defend the line, but Gunez was already committed to it. He had nowhere to go. He did try to back out of it, but unfortunately, way too late to prevent the pit maneuver from happening.
2 into 1 does not go, and that is, I think, the lesson to be had, is sometimes trying to put 2 cars side by side, certain sections of a track doesn't work. I'll tell you who's not trying to put something side by side right now. Lucas Sigmund, he wants to just hold on against Rodrigo Lazowski and just try to fight his way forward, and Lazowski right now has a mirror full of a Mercedes there of Kyle Gaspar, so he isn't really looking as much forward, because here comes Kyle Gaspar up the inside here against Lazowski, and he is out the inside of the final corner and ahead into P4, and we'll see some significant pace difference here, but Jackson Resenje again showing some pace difference against Lazowski and Gaspar, and this is going to be where we start to see things make or break here.
And speaking of breaks, you might see some other guys who really know how to get around this track and get a handle of their cars just come through. Gaspar, case in point there, that was a real MotoGP style move there. You wouldn't see cars going through because how big they are compared to bikes, but that was a brilliantly planned move from Gaspar. Made it stick on the inside. Lazowski just had to concede the position. So again, I did say overtaking was premium, but if you really can make it possible, it is actually a real good circuit to get by here, especially given the fact that there's a lot of braking zones. Let's see if Gaspar can do it again.
Gaspar taking a peek, and there it is. Look at the late brakes compared to the McLaren of Sigmund. And Sigmund just switches it right back. That is racecraft. Now watch this. Gaspar in the mix here with Lazowski now trying to peek ahead up, but not close enough. Gaspar doing very, very well on corner entry to try to send it through, and then Sigmund just pulling the ultimate Danny Rick McLaren move, switching it back and sending it right on around. I absolutely love it. You mentioned this is a MotoGP track. We're seeing MotoGP styles here, even though these are GT4 cars that are so much bigger than any motorcycle you might see ran around this track. Driver's just trying to hold on at this point. We're lap 5 of 8, and just remember, guys, we have another heat after this. We've got another 8 laps that come up after this with an inverted top 15 yet again.
Absolutely. And talking about the MotoGP track, you know that I did mention earlier that this is named after Ángel Nieto, the 13-time 12+1. He likes to refer as 12+1 world champion. But incidentally, there are 13 corners at this track, so it's almost fated, isn't it, that he's a 13-time world champion. Afraid of number 13, he has triskaidekaphobia, and this circuit has 13 corners anyway. Talk about irony.
We'll refer to it as the 12+1 circuit. So don't worry. We'll take care of things here in the 12+1.
Right, we're looking at Gaspar here again. He has the legs on the McLaren tilt of advantage. This is the onboard of what happened in the previous lap, where he dived on the inside, outbraked himself, and Sigmund goes through. But it looks as though Sigmund might have actually outdone himself that time. He went wide, coming through Sito Pons, and he actually compromised his entrance coming to Sito Pons corner. And on the exit, it looks as though this might be Gaspar for the taking.
Gaspar holding his breath. He's going to really try to send it up the inside here. Watch this. Laid on the brakes, 2x2x2. We go into the corner here, the hard right-hander, and there it is, a bit of contact, and Sigmund's going to run a little bit wide. Kyle Gaspar, you can see, having to hold onto the wheel very hard, and Lucas Sigmund is going to drop another place there as Gerardo Ramos is able to make his way through. After that contact, Sigmund picking up a little bit of front-end damage, I would imagine, and Lazowski is now going to be turning to move his way up as well. Lap 6 of 8 that we're on, and here we go through the double right-handers, and you can see Sigmund having to defend very hard. He's done so well for so long to hold on, and it could just be the tire fatigue here at the end. But we'll see if Sigmund can do that McLaren proud, move it up the field, and get back past Ramos into P4 as we go here into lap 7, Amir.
Yep. We're on the penultimate lap now, as Belziti will break the timing line very soon. There we go, we're on the penultimate lap. But it looks as though, battle here aside, Gines is only just under second behind Belziti, so that's a battle that's brewing. As we look on board with Lazowski, trying to aim for a turn 1 move, no. You know, in a MotoGP bike, that might be possible for a car because the exit tightens up. You really have to be alongside somebody to make that move possible.
Unless your name is Kyle Gaspar and you move your brake bias all the way forward and throw things down and say a couple thoughts, prayers, and send it through, because that is what Kyle Gaspar has done to get his way up to P3. Riding on board here with Lazowski, and you can see there you go down there in your bottom left corner on the screen, and you can see he's just very focused, very relaxed, running that GT wheel in a GT car. Appropriate setup now, making up for the Kia Optima run on a GT wheel that he did earlier. Not saying it's not possible, just saying it's probably not your preferred option, and we can see he's really trying to find somewhere to stick it up the inside. He's got a bit of mid-corner speed up on Sigmund, but he's just not able to get close enough on entry to make that pass happen, and you can see he's just really trying to pick his line at this point and figure out what he can do. And the problem for... Oh, and there's a spin! Oh, and he's going to take out Fabio Zamperlini with him.
And he picked the wrong line there, Brad. As you were about to say, picking the right line, there it is. He just went a bit narrow. He tried to look through the inside, but Sigmund had the line already there, so there was no way through it. Unfortunately, it resulted in him spinning out of contention.
That is so unfortunate to watch there, but Fabio Zamperlini able to recover pretty well, and then that puts Lazowski back in P11. Checking in on the battle for the lead here, because Gunes has fought his way up to Fabrizio Belziti as we go on to the final lap here in Heat 1. Again, another 8 laps coming up right after this, but at this point, it is Fabrizio Belziti's race to lose as Gunes 3/10 of a second back, and he just needs to hold on and try to make a dive. I mentioned he pulls that brake bias forward, and he used that late braking lunge. Bottom right corner of your screen, that's the Lazowski crash. Just a little bit of traction loss on his own. Spins back up into the racing line, and really, if your car's behind, there's nothing you can do about it there. You are just going to collect him as he comes back into your line. You don't have enough time to react. But who does have enough time to react here, Amir? It's Belziti as we go in on halfway through the final lap.
And he has plenty of time to go for defense. There you go. Bang on cue. He goes very narrow. But will that be a mistake? Can he break it just in time to prevent Gines from going for the switchback? And he does go for the switchback. Wide goes Belziti, but LZD has enough of a run on the exit to prevent Gines from coming through. This is going to be a grandstand finish. And remember what I said that F1 came here in 1986? Well, this is a Senna and Mansell-esque battle, but would it go all the way to a photo finish? Let's just wait and see how that happens. But Gines pressuring Belzidi to an absolutely huge extent.
Belzidi putting that Aston Martin or that Mercedes in all the right places to hold on against Gines as we come through the corners here. You can see he is just absolutely trying everything. Gines is just trying to pick his spots, but Belzidi being cool, calm, collected, hitting his marks as we go through the Senna chicane. And now it's through the last couple of corners. Gines is really going to have to get cheeky here. Look at this. He is going to set up that switchback outside. Is going to go a long way around the outside here. Banging doors on the final corner, and there it is. Belzidi's going to slot it back in, and Belzidi versus Gines on the final lap. It's going to come out. Fabrizio Belzidi will win Heat 1 here in AMX 10, race number 16. Gines, look at that, just half a second behind out of the final corner, but that does not tell all the story. Now we just watch for the rest of the drivers to come through as Gerardo Ramos is trying to chase down Kyle Gaspar. Can't get close enough. Sigmund, Casperda, and then from there, it's all the way through. Lazowski again, having that spin there on lap 7, down into P10, and then Elysiu P11. You can see the rest of the drivers spaced out quite a bit down at the end of the field. And Amir, I did not know who was going to win that till they crossed the line.
Absolutely. Belzidi with a masterclass in defense, and he actually just spaced out Gines just a bit, but again, that was clean but fair racing from both of them, and what a grandstand finish. And we just had the same kind of finish like what happened in 1986 between Senna and Mansell, but it's just a bit further out there. Belzidi then with the win, half a second in front of Gines. Gaspar put it 9 seconds behind, so that's why that shows both of them were the class of the field here in this first heat. But he's got another heat coming up, and I can't wait for more here, Brad.
Absolutely. Will it be redemption for Pedro Mora and Diego Villarreal, who both lost out extremely early in that Heat 1? Will it be redemption for any of our drivers that were back in the back? And Fabio Zamperlini, who ended up hitting Lazowski there on a spin, can he get redemption back? All of that and more to come up on another 8-lap heat. Let's hope that our drivers can make it through into turn 1 this time, as opposed to the exit of the final corner. But Diego Villarreal brings it home to end Heat 1 officially now. And Amir, what was the big standout performance for you?
Had to be Corentin Gines. He had such amazing pace, even though he started 15 and being on pole position. He nearly won it there towards the end, but Fabrizio Belzidi was just way too good in his defense to prevent that from happening. But shows that he could carve his way from the back all the way to the front, Brad.
Absolutely. Fabrizio Belzidi there in the bottom right corner of your screen. You can see cool, calm, collected, probably talking to his voracious teammates there, talking about the race. Maybe a little bit of strategy for race 2, but I'm going to guess probably not here. As we grid up, it will be another pace lap and then another 8 laps of action coming up to you. SimRC there in P2 and the Tony Kanaan boys finishing very, very well as well through the field. And again, it'll invert, put them back towards the front. And this is the point where we get to see the second half of action start. Grab a drink of water. Everybody hold on, because you still got 8 more laps of action coming your way.
And another rolling start to be contend with. As we go into heat number 2, there we go. We're looking at on board with Fabrizio Belzidi right at the back now. Alongside him is Corentin Gines. And they're going to have to contend with carving their way through in front of 13 other drivers here. So it's a case of he's going to have to follow Gines around to see where the best overtaking spots are. And, of course, try to see if they could capitalize on any mistakes that happen in the midfield, especially with that bunched up rolling start.
Yeah, the midfield's really going to be the place to watch here as the drivers start their way around the track. Because, again, that's where we saw everything pop off in Heat 1. So it really kind of tells the story for how Heat 2 is going to go. And it's going to be just a matter of holding your breath. We saw 4 wide into turn 1, and I think everybody is probably going to be expecting a similar story. But the cool thing about this is, again, this is just kind of a mid-race reset. Everybody gets to relax a little bit, get set up, and see how things go. Crack your knuckles, roll your wrist around, loosen them up, limber up, pop an elbow if you can, roll your shoulders, pull your scalpula back. I bet you didn't know you were going to get a gym class with Brad here on a formation lap, Amir.
I was more thinking of Thai massage there for a second, that you go through the joints. But yeah, that literally is the best way to describe it. You're going through the drills there, Brad, going into a sim race.
And it may or may not be what Reed does before commentary starts, but I won't oust him for that. We'll ask him after if he has any sort of special race start routine that he goes through before he gets ready for commentary. I know he does. We'll just see if he actually tells us. Anyways, halfway through the formation lap officially here, and it's gonna be Victor Miranda and Pedro Mora that will be taking control of the field as we go through. And you think there's going to be any sort of cheeky runs for those two cars as we see Victor Miranda trying to hurry up the iRacing pace car?
Yeah, we were talking about how cheeky that move was, and there it is. He literally tried to scare the iRacing Porsche safety car to go a bit faster, a bit Lewis Hamilton-esque when he was in his prime at least, to just get it going. But he has to remember he is not in control of this particular race, because that will be Pedro Mora. Mora is the pole sitter, and he'll control the rest of the field. So hopefully they don't bunch up too much and have everyone check up and have an accident.
Only one way to find out, and only time will tell as we come through the center chicane, and that marks the 3/4 of the way through the lap as we come around. And again, Pedro Mora, pole setter, Victor Miranda, P2, Jackson Presinje, Carlos Acano, Liziu, and then down the field from there. And really, it is a guess on who can survive. You see everybody picking slightly alternate lines here as Pedro Mora takes control of the field there. And now he is on the outside into the final corner, and he is going to cut it through early. And it looks like he's not going to waste any time getting away. It looks like we're green, 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 straight to the line. And there is no checking up, no crazy things. Everybody keeps their traction. We're away here. And it is going to be Jackson Presinje, who is already ahead of Victor Miranda with a good takeoff there. Going into turn one, side by side, we see that is going to be Fabio Zamperlini and Eliziu going around. And it looks like at the moment, everybody gets away pretty well here. Lazowski around the outside of Carlos Acano. And he is probably going to be able to hold on to that as the outside turns to the inside. Checking back into the back there, you see some action going on behind these guys. Fabrizio Belziti, Gunez Gaspar, all trying to battle with each other. That's somebody off in the gravel. And that is Gunez, who was off in the gravel. He's able to hold on to it, though. And that is 16 for the racer, who is so strong in these GT4s.
Yeah, we saw how strong he was, that he managed to claw 14 positions from where he started and go all the way to the front, nearly winning the race that time around. But it goes to show that he is the man to watch out for, as up in front Miranda has managed to overtake Mora and Resende follows suit. So it's a Brazilian 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So hopefully they are working together here to create a Brazilian armada in front and make a race out of it. Oh, spoke too soon. There goes Eliseo, isn't it? Yeah, Eliseo goes off there. Luckily, he kept it together and managed to maintain P3. But, no, it's Resende. Resende went off, so, wow. As I said, Armada, he nearly broke rank.
That is the commentator's curse, Amir. Welcome to the commentary team. Glad to have you on your stand. I hope you enjoy. Yeah, so big moments there, but I will tell you the Brazilians are not going to be working together at all, because only a couple of them up there are teammates with the other. And at this point, when you put this much money on the line, I am going to tell you that the team orders go out the window. It is all about who has the pace to get through. You can see the slipstream being taken into effect here. Victor Miranda, Pedro Mora, and Eliziu all trying to follow each other through. Victor Miranda 1.5 seconds to lead because of the battles behind. Look at that upbeat inside is Gael Valero on Jackson Presinje, and chopping the nose off is Pedro Mora against Fabio Zamperlini and Eliziu. Eliziu now down into 4. And Amir, there is action anywhere you want to look. Pick a position and someone's having a battle.
Absolutely, and the thing is, the more that these guys battle in P2, the more that Miranda's going to go away. And that's exactly what Miranda wants. He's just making a beeline for it. Oh, that's a big one! That's a big accident there. Into the barriers goes Pedro Mora. He just got pit maneuvered by Eliseu, and Eliseu somehow manages to maintain P2 out of all of that. He's under some peer pressure from Lazowski, and Valero has somehow managed to sleep in between there because he just got in front of Resende out of all of that.
Fabio Zamperlini holding on into P10. I don't know how he didn't end up in the wall. But yeah, that is a big moment there. And now as we see Gael Valero very racy around the outside here of Lazowski trying to hold on. Look at Gael Valero, cool, calm, collected. Right there in your screen, the Frenchman, it's an early morning for him, and he is hungry for a win for breakfast.
Absolutely, and he's part of that same RC team, if not mistaken, yeah. I mean, for Lazowski, slowed big time, probably because he cut the corner somewhere, that's why he had to back it up. But he backed it up at the worst possible position. Resende had to take evasive action to overtake, and now Lazowski's clicked back on to attack his fellow countryman.
Diving down the inside goes Lazowski. There's contact there between them, and that was Lazowski bumping into Jackson Resende, sends them both wide, and Facundo Arago is going to have a mix up the inside there, potentially not close enough to take advantage, but that's going to knock them both way back there. Jackson Resende now 1.6 seconds off, and look at that deep defense up the inside against Lazowski, and trying so hard to go through. Heat 2, nobody is holding back on here. Look at this pack racing all the way through up the inside. There goes Fabrizio Belziti on a Kano, and he is going to be able to hold on to that, and that's going to set things up very, very well in the midfield for some things to mix up. Yunez on Zamperlini in the background as well, and at this point, Lazowski is just trying to defend against Facundo Arago as much as he possibly can.
Yeah, but Lazowski as well had his own little demons in that previous race where he tried to go on the inside and run around. He might not want to do it again as we swap to Mora as Bells. You can see Eliseu is on the outside. He tried to defend through. Oh no, that may not be Eliseu, but he tried to defend on the outside, and Mora just got pit maneuvered. So unfortunately for him, that puts paid to any good result in this race. He's still at the back of the grid.
Unfortunate move there from Water, knocks him back, and there we go. Fabulous Fabio Zamperlini getting around Akano there into P9, but Akano with a little bit of a run back trying, and up front Lazowski again trying to defend against Facundo Arago and doing his absolute best to defend against those two voracious racing teammates that are behind him there in P6, P7 in the Mercedes, both looking very racy with that Porsche. Looks very, very strong in the hands of the Brazilian of Lazowski. Look at him trying to hold on here as we come through the center chicane, come out of the center chicane, and now we're just going to run down. He's holding on as best he can. We're now into the 12+1 curve, the left-hander, 1/8 hairpin. Here we go down the main straight. But also, you look behind Arago and Belziti, you've got the Porsche of Yunez in the mix here.
Oh.
And there we go. And there's a spin in the background, and that was Diego, or no, that's Akano that spun in the background. Looks like Diego Villarreal collecting him there. Not sure much more that happened there, as that was just off the back edge of the screen.
Yeah, it was under the UFO, so we didn't really see what really happened there, but we saw the aftermath of it, and Elcano being the biggest loser of all that, he's dropped 12 positions, second only to Pedro Mora. Mora, after that spin into the barriers, he's lost 14th after being on pole position, so not the best way to end the day for him, but conversely, the best way to end the day for Corentin Gines. He's already up on the cusp of the top 5 here. He could have been aiming for a double win, but unfortunately he finished second in that first race. Well, I would say unfortunately, but you get the idea. He would have actually had the win right there had it been not blocked by Belziti. And speaking of which, this is what happened to Ocano. He had a bit of a collision with a Mercedes right there, and he got pit maneuver run. Somehow he was the one contacting from behind, but he's the one that spun.
A little bit of iRacing playing in the mix there. In real life, that probably would have been just a little bit of a fender tap and go. And there's a spin there. That is Lazowski who spun. That collects, I believe that collected Zamperlini as well. Saw a couple cars off there. Gerardo Ramos also dropping back pretty significantly. I'm not sure exactly how that one started either. As soon as I'm trying to explain the last track, another one begins. These drivers are pushing as hard as they can, because at this point, this is all to play for. There's not another heat after this. There's no sense in holding back. And for some of these drivers, it's costing them big time, as Corentin Gines up the inside there on Facundo Arago, up into P5 now. Jackson Resende is going to be his next target, 3/4 of a second ahead. Blinking the headlights there from Facundo Arago. He says, hey, I've got more pace than you in this next second. Let me around. There's no reason you should have passed me. But if if you look, it tells a different story because Sporting Yunez is going to start closing the gap to Jackson Resenje.
Yeah, Resenje is only about 7/10 of a second in front of Gines as we look at up to the battle at the front. Eliseo running over Gumby there. I know what Ree was referring to. It was the Gumby. No, Eliseo now has Gael Valero for company. This is the first time that Valero has become a factor in this race, as we've not really seen him at his best. As Zowski, we see in the bottom right there, what happened to him. He just touched the gravel and got pinned around. Valero, though, he's trying to emulate what his fellow countryman has done, and is to try and carve his way through the field and go into the front, Brad.
Yeah, Valero doing a very, very good job of it here. Half a second off of Eliseu here, and you can see he's going to settle in, try to have the run. Eliseu running a little bit wide there, and that is going to give a bit of a run for Valero. It's just a matter of where can Gael Valero find the opportunity to take advantage and get past. You see he's closing that gap quickly. And it's one thing to catch, it's another to pass. But if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Gael Valero. Gael Valero has a lot of bravery that goes in. And you can see he's not happy with how he just took the finish game. A little bit too much sausage curve there on the inside. You can see him kind of, he looks up, he rolls his eyes a little bit just to say, like, dang it, I could have done that better. Could have set himself up for a final run here into the final corner. Not able to do so. And now it's just a matter of pedal the metal out. He needs to get it reset up as we hit lap 6 of 8 here, Amir. And at this point, who are you watching? Do we think Gael Valero has a chance for the win? Zamperlini's crash there on the bottom right. It's Fabulous Fabio is now in last place. That's how he did it. Him and Gerardo Ramos getting together, I believe, and just knocking himself out of contention there. And for Fabulous Fabio, not much you can do with that.
Yeah, a couple of things happening on screen there, including the likes of Corentin Gines battling with Resende. But yeah, we're coming into the dying embers of this particular heat. And it looks as though Miranda, despite having an early lead early on because the others were battling, his lead's dropping by less than 2 seconds. So now he has to watch his mirrors here if he's not careful in the final couple of laps.
Final couple of laps are where things can really pop off or really settle down. And if you're Gael Valero, you really, really want that P2. 1.9 seconds the gap between Eliseu and Miranda. And the thing is, if Gael Valero can get around, he's going to have a couple laps to try to close that down. Gael Valero has a lot of pace, but again, it's one thing to catch, it's another to pass. And that BMW is showing a lot of pace. Look at this, a bit of a run, but not close enough. Has to break a bit earlier against Eliseu. And Eliseu, again, bottom left of the screen. It always amazes me because these guys are cool, calm, collected. And if you ever get the chance to watch me do some racing, I am anything but cool, calm, and collected in these situations.
Yeah, it's a different thing altogether, isn't it? To talk about it, we get to see we're sitting in our little armchairs and just have it. But to do what you guys are doing, it's completely different, isn't it? It's a completely different ball game. I know for a fact that I play multiple sim racing games, but iRacing is the one that really gets your knuckles going because you never know when you're going to have a big one due to how tense it can be to drive these cars. But having said that, GT4s are at least the more calm compared to some of the other classes on iRacing, Brad.
It's funny we say GT4s are more calm and then we have races like this, and it's kind of like, okay, well, where's the calm at? Because I don't see it, but you are right. It is, GT4s are kind of that point where things start to get real crazy and real serious real fast. Lap 7 of 8 is here, Amir, and it is Gael Valero, 0.2 of a second back on Eliseu, trying to do the same thing he's tried to do for the past few laps. You watch the bottom right corner of the screen, the battle for number 9. And now that that's away, we can just focus on the task at hand, which is Gael Valero. Take the slipstream, send that Bimmer up the inside. It is a Bimmer to the inside, not able to make it happen. And that is going to be the Porsche living. Hold on to P2 another day, or at least another lap or so. We'll see how this turns out. Amir, this is our closest battle on the track, and this is all the marbles to play for. Victor Miranda, 2.5 seconds up the road.
Yeah, Victor Miranda might be breathing another sigh of relief here because knowing that these two guys are battling hard, he can just take it easy in this final lap and not just stuff it if he were to push it a bit more. As the cars jump over there, the BMW seems to be the more highly sprung because we've seen quite a couple of BMWs jumping over the curves looking like, yeah, there we go, case in point, how it's much more highly sprung compared to the softer Porsches. But that will also help mid-corner. As you can see, Valero then with a good drive coming out of Alex Privier corner into the final corner here. Lorenzo, can he do it? No, he cannot be able to, but it's back, and Valero might be able to. No, Jose with a better drive on the outside, and he angles P2 for now, but that gave another half a second to Victor Miranda.
Now Valero breaking traction out of the final corner. I really thought he had that switch back in, and then he just happened to lose traction mid-corner at the apex. And Elysiu just craft artist here as we go in through Elysiu on the outside, Valero on the inside, but that's going to switch back around the inside for Elysiu, and Elysiu is going to hold on to it just enough traction to keep that Porsche ahead of the BMW. And there it is, Elysiu in P2, Valero P3. Can they sort this out before the start-finish line as we come through? And that gap opening up now 2 tenths, 2.5 tenths, and they are holding on. Elysiu a little bit wide into the gravel, but nothing too serious there. Kyle Valero, a bit of traction. He's got just a couple more chances to try it, and he is going to bid his time around the outside here around turn 6. Can't hold on to it. It looks like that turns into the inside for turn 7. He's not close enough, though. Has to slot back in. Amir just half a lap left.
Yep, this is where the cookie will crumble now. Coming up to Aspar corner and into the Jerez-Ángel Nieto. Named after the circuit, of course, the 125cc world champion. Around the outside goes Valero. He's going to go the long way around. That's not the right way to do it because Elizeu will come back on the inside. But on the exit, it looks as though Valero is stronger. Now he's going to have to make it through the chicane. Does he make it? Yes, he does. Side by side they go.
No!
Oh, and that's it. Podium gone for both of them. There goes Resende and Jerez to get up to second again. Jerez with another P2, but these guys will be kicking themselves for that one.
2 into 1 does not go. Again, we see it. And Gunez and Resende will move their way forward. Gael Valero will be so upset. Elysiu will be unhappy and look down in the bottom left corner because that is Victor Miranda, your race winner, who's came out with a 5.7 second lead in the end after that contact there. Gunez, Resende, Belzidi, Elysiu, Drago Valero, Gaspar, Sigmund, Diego Villarreal round out our top 10. Oh my gosh, the Senna chicane takes out our P2 and P3 who ran P2 and P3 for so long. But I guess it is a storybook ending.
Such storybook ending for those two. It's almost like it's a Senna and Prost incident, isn't it? Aptly named the Ayrton Senna chicane. But wow, you couldn't have asked for a more dramatic grandstand finish. A bit anticlimactic, yes, but we still got excitement either way.
To direct quote Ayrton Senna, if you no longer go for a gap that exists, you're no longer a racing driver. How appropriate for that to happen in the Senna chicane, of all things.
Absolutely.
Fabio Zamperlini coming through the Senna chicane now.
Yeah, but again, I just feel that Senna's quote has often been misinterpreted as a way to die for him. So, unfortunately, in that particular instance, it was a fair move, but Valero just didn't get enough purchase on it. Plus, he got turned into. So, you gotta feel for both of them. They drove a brilliant battle. It's just that it had to be rescinded in the worst way possible.
Oh, that was a crazy run. I don't know how much more better you could sum up AMX. Honestly, that was amazing. Victor Miranda brings it home with a dominating win there. You can see him in the bottom right. Corentin Gunez and Jackson Resende find themselves in places they did not expect to be at, I believe, as we see Facundo Drago, Gael Valero, Elysiu, all mixing things up, and that is going to go on a highlight reel for multiple people at that point. That last lap battle was absolutely loved it. I don't know what more I can say about that, but looking all the way up and down the field, I mean, lots of big storylines that we could see for that entire race. I mean, I really don't know what more I could say, Amir, because that was amazing.
Yeah, I can't believe that kind of action will happen all the way to the final line. We thought, okay, we can get settled in, but the battle for the podium was just the one that was the hottest out on track. and unfortunately, it had to be slightly anticlimactic as we see. I thought Reed was paused for a second, but it looked like a freeze frame. But he's here now with us. Yeah, I think that was probably my pick of the bunch in terms of both heats. That battle for P2 was probably the highlight of the bunch, and it's just unfortunately it had to end in a very bad way.
Yeah, I mean, let's not get it twisted. That was, nobody could predict that, but I did have a sixth sense in the back of my mind several times. Actually, Heat 1 also, there were some times where you're like, surely everything's going to work fine here, right? And then it didn't. So either way, some very exciting moments from our heats of the day. And I think that's going to do it for our racing, but we do have a little bit more coming up today. So I think we have at least one interview ready to go. We'll go ahead and head on over to that now. I want to go ahead and welcome to our interview Facundo Rago. Hello.
Hey guys, what's up?
Okay, so first of all, welcome. We haven't gotten a chance to talk to each other yet, but how are you liking AMX Season 3 so far?
Well, yeah. First of all, yeah. We didn't have the chance to talk yet, but yeah, it's great. I'm enjoying it so far. Just keep learning. Keep learning, every race, how to race these guys. It's amazing the level of these guys. Valero, Guinness, all the red line guys. It's amazing. So yeah, it's tough for a guy like me, but it's fun, and the races are great.
So you're racing in AMX. Are some of the cars or tracks very challenging? Which cars and tracks have been your favorite this season?
My favorites, I guess the GTE cars are amazing to drive. GT3 as well. GTPs are amazing. I struggle a lot with the TCRs, with the Kia, with the Formula cars. I'm not good at it, but yeah, and the tracks, all of them are amazing. I just bought Jerez just like 2 hours ago. I didn't know the track, so it was challenging.
Wow. So you're racing on Voracious Racing. This is this a team that you've been on for your entire career, or how did you get involved with them?
To be honest, we founded the team in January this year with Lucas and Fabrizio. We were in another team, then we wanted to get, the things our way. So yeah, it was fun, and I think the path so far is pretty great. We're trying to fight with these guys who are, I don't know, really fast. So yeah, it's been great so far.
So you guys are competing in AMX Season 3. Are you racing in any other tournaments this year?
Yeah, we are. We're racing in the Seat Championship. It's with GT4s and TCRs. It's an endurance championship run by Jerez-Ángel League here in Latin America, and yeah, challenging as well. It's pretty tough, but we got to race the GT4 cars, so we have some experience here.
Now, you are racing in South America. You're from Argentina.
Yeah.
And so
Yes.
what do you think about the level of sim racing in South America compared to the rest of the world?
We can fight. Maybe we are lacking some equipment because we're racing with G29s and G27s, but we're just having fun and getting there, you know? People like, I don't know, Filipa, Fabrizio, Miranda, they're racing here and they are amazing and they can fight everywhere and everyone as well.
Okay. Thank you for the interview. Before we head out, do you have any shout outs? Anybody that you'd like to mention before we go?
Yeah, all my guys, they're in Argentina, the Voracious team. Let me do it in Spanish because some of them doesn't understand. Saludito para todos los de Voracio. Vamos, carajo.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll
Thank you,
hope
guys.
to get a chance to see you back here again later. So good luck in
Yeah.
your races.
Yeah. Thank you. See ya, guys.
I think Reed's muted
looks like
there,
we're going to
but
do a quick replay. Nice job, Brad. Still figuring things out here. And while you guys watch some of the best moments of today, we'll set up another interview and we'll be right back with you.
so first replay we got here is going to be big moments here. And this is, I think, the talk of Heat 2, that side-by-side action. It's Amir. I mean, like I said, I don't know how you sum that up any better there between Valero and Elysiu. That's just hard racing. That's beautiful hard racing.
Yeah, but you gotta feel that Valero had the line there. He could have actually taken the position, but Eliseo decided to just probably turn into the corner when he should have probably been opening up the car a bit. But yeah, you gotta feel for both of them. Both were on course for a podium, and that went completely begging because of real hard racing. But I would put about, say, 60-40 to Eliseo by virtue of the fact that he could have backed out of it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that, you can kind of argue it with racing. When you're looking back and forth, it really becomes that conversation of who's right, who's wrong. I think at the end of the day, for me, I call it a racing incident, but it's hard racing all the way through, and I think that's the fun thing about AMX is you see that hard competitive racing all the way through for things and for those moments. Those are the big moments that really get people talking.
Absolutely. And definitely they will talk about this long into the night over in South America for that particular one, and in Europe, because, again, in the bigger picture, grand scheme of things, it's a podium gone begging, so they will really be miffed by that one.
Absolutely.
All right, looks like we are ready for our next interview. Sorry to interrupt there. We're trying to get everything done, but we're ready for that interview. So I'm going to hold your thoughts for a little bit, and we'll be right back after this interview. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So let me welcome Fabio Zamperlini back to the show. Hello, Fabio. How are your races today?
It's a little bit fun. I'm trying to train a little bit yesterday, but today was not so good for me. But all the time it's really funny to be here with these guys. It is a lot of competition, fun players, crazy starts like last race. So it's so funny to be here. It's amazing to race with these guys, with headline team, the Shock, and the other guys here. So it's funny all the time.
There are a lot of really young racers in AMX and in other leagues. How do you compete with the kids that are racing in iRacing? Is it really difficult, or do you have a lot of experience?
It's hard because I'm a little bit older than this guy, so I need to train a lot to try to get close of these guys. But this kid is amazing. They run so fast. They train. They do less training than we usually to do, but it's part. It's funny. I'm blind off the right eye, so it's hard to identify the car in front braking. So it's a little bit hard for me, and but it's a challenge. So all the time I like to challenge other people, and it's really fun with these guys, young guys here racing here.
Wow, that's like hard mode for racing, but you've been doing very well. Is there a car or a track that you've really enjoyed racing in AMX this season?
I like the TCR cars and the GT3 cars. So tracks that I like, we don't have yet. It's Watkins Glen. So it's a nice track. Canadian Tire is another track that I like a lot. Let's see if we are going to race in this season there. So that's it.
Okay, well, thank you for your interview. Good luck this season, and I hope we get to talk again soon.
Okay, thank you guys.
All right, a big thanks to our interviewees and all of our racers for participating today. Man, I know we watched a little bit of a highlight earlier, but there were a lot of really cool moments from today. I'll start with you, Brad. What was your favorite moment? I maybe it might be a little bit obvious, but go ahead and tell us what you liked the most about today, besides casting with us.
Oh, it's always casting with Amir. I love Amir. But honestly, it is going to be that Senna chicane moment. That is going to be a highlight that I can't wait to see posted. Reed, you're pretty amazing too. I didn't think I had to say it though.
It's okay. I'll take it for granted. Maybe just a little bit. Amir, what about you?
Yeah, first of all, yep, great to work with you lads, of course. It's always great to have excited, passionate people about, especially sim racing, to work with. So yeah, get out of the way. Love you too, Brad and Reed. I think the best moment for today in AMX 10 had to be the finish for race heat number 1, because Gines nearly got it in there because he was carving his way through the field, but he just missed out on the win by virtue of the fact that Belziti was better in his defense that time around in holding on to the win. So it was exciting all the way. It felt like watching a MotoGP race, but in cars.
Yeah, and we were doing it on one of the bigger MotoGP tracks out there too, so maybe a little bit appropriate there. Either way, it was a great day of races. Actually, AMX Zero was really sick today too, so whether you joined earlier or you stuck all the way to the end of the show, or you're watching this via video later on, we're glad to have you wherever, whenever. It's good to be together. I don't know. I can't remember how it goes, but it was a great day of racing, and I hope everybody else out there enjoyed it. I know I did. You guys had a good time, and really excited to do it all over again this weekend. There's more coming up from AMX 0, AMX 10 as AMX Global League Season 3 continues. We've got 20, 30 more races coming up. There's a lot more on the line. And if you'd like to join us here, then make sure to head over to amxrace.com to sign up and become a part of AMX Global League Season 3. In the meantime, you can head over to our social media accounts on Twitter and Instagram, where we post highlights, clips, announcements, everything in between. Love to hear what you have to say, so make sure to follow us on social media. And you can also follow and subscribe to us right here, wherever you're watching us, whether it's YouTube or Twitch. We'd love to have your support, and we do thank you for watching us. However you do that, big fan. And one final thing that I want to mention is the AMX Global Discord channel. If you want to get a chance to talk to any of the drivers that you saw today, you can ask them questions about cars, tracks, setups, everything in between, or just post some cat pictures. Everything goes. It's a lot of fun. So we hope that you join us there in Discord, and we hope to see you guys again here too. Whether you're just watching, you'd like to come race with us, amxrace.com is the place, and hopefully you will check that out, like what you see, and if you do, well, it'd be good to see you back here again. So a big thanks to everybody out there, whether you raced, whether you watched, whether you were casting with me, whether you're working behind the scenes, everywhere in between. What a great day of races, and I can't wait to do it all over again this weekend. So on behalf of all of us here at AMX, to all of you guys wherever you are, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you back here again this weekend for more of AMX Global League Season 3.